I aced every bonus question on the college entrance exam just to get away from Vanessa Dalton. After the exam, Vanessa's friends mocked me. Ethan, Vanessa said she did badly. Turn in a blank paper this afternoon, or you'll never get another chance to suck up to her. They all burst out laughing. Vanessa looked disgusted. I nodded and said I understood. But I was done being her lapdog. Someone else could do it. I called the housekeeper and cut off all support for her family. Then I had them all thrown out. Vanessa called me 99 times in a rage. I ignored every call. Now she was worried? Too late. In my last life, I was the richest man's son. Yet I worshipped my driver's daughter. To marry her, I signed my father's company over to her. She spent my money while dating someone else. She spoiled her boyfriend rotten. But she treated me like a servant. On her wedding day, I called to borrow money for treatment. She coldly said, "All those years you chased me were a living nightmare. Ethan Hayes, just go die already." As I lay dying, I looked at the woman holding me. Only then did I learn that Chloe Carter, the heiress I'd rejected, had waited for me all along. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in senior year. I was asleep at my desk when Vanessa woke me. "Adrian's stomach hurts. Go buy him some medicine. Then get him lunch with extra meat. He's too thin." Adrian lay at his desk with everyone fussing over him. They all felt bad about his stomachache. Of course, Vanessa cared the most. They always ranked first and second. Everyone thought they were perfect together. They were the golden couple. I was Vanessa's mindless lapdog. I slept through class, then spent every break running errands for her. Now that I knew I'd been reborn, seeing Vanessa act like this was almost funny. What gave her the right to treat me like dirt? Seeing me freeze, Vanessa snapped. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up." Then she went over and gently rubbed Adrian's back. Adrian glanced at me. "We shouldn't make Ethan go. I'll go myself." "Why? He loves doing this stuff." "He'd be upset if I didn't let him, right?" She looked at me. I forced a smile and silently went to the cafeteria. I got in line for 2 meals. A classmate beside me snickered. "Getting Vanessa lunch again? She likes Adrian, you know? Someone as accomplished as him would never want trash like you." "What exactly am I? A servant's son. You ride to school with the young lady and think she'll marry you? Wake up. A dumb, useless guy like you will always be her servant, doing her laundry and cleaning her floors. You'll even change her kids' diapers." I laughed bitterly. "Vanessa told you I'm a servant's son? I liked her, so I'd let her ride in the car that drove me to school. But now, everyone thought Vanessa was the heiress and I was the servant's son." The classmate rolled their eyes. "Obviously. Hurry and take your lady her lunch." They laughed and everyone around us joined in. They mocked my pathetic devotion and impossible dream. The bell rang. I left the cafeteria but didn't return to class. I sat by a flower bed and ate both meals. I couldn't remember my last decent meal. After losing everything, I couldn't afford good food. I'd wait until the market closed and take discarded vegetables. Meat was out of the question. I finished both meals. Only then did my hunger ease. The first bell had rung when I returned. Vanessa saw me and snapped. "What took so long? Where's the medicine?" "What medicine?" I looked at her coldly. All my usual affection was gone. Vanessa stared at me. "The stomach medicine for Adrian." I said his stomach hurts. "Are you deaf? You can't even handle one simple task." I glanced at the pale Adrian. What is he to me? Why should I buy his medicine? Adrian came from a modest family. Ever since meeting him, Vanessa had treated him exceptionally well. Whenever Dad gave me something nice, Vanessa gave it to Adrian. Even the watch on his wrist was mine. They used my cards, spent my money, and enjoyed everything I owned. Yet they ordered me around like a servant. "Fine, Ethan. You want to throw a fit? Keep this up, and I'll stop talking to you. Don't come begging me to forgive you." I stared at Vanessa, amused by her threat. "Why would I need your forgiveness? What did I do wrong?" Everyone turned, shocked that I challenged Vanessa. "What's happening?" Her lapdog finally grew a spine. Even Vanessa froze. She stared at me, remembering every time I'd begged her. "Then don't ride home with me today." I nodded. "Sure." Then I returned to my seat. I agreed so easily, as if her threat meant nothing. Adrian's deskmate, Tessa Monroe, jumped in to defend him. "Ethan, what's wrong with you? She only asked you to buy medicine. You couldn't even do that? Can't you see Adrian's sick?" I gave her a cold look. "Then go buy it yourself." Tessa shot back. "It's your job. Why should I go? Adrian's nothing to me. Why should I?" Tessa pointed at me. "You work for Vanessa's family. Of course you should buy medicine for her friend." At that, I turned to Vanessa. "Vanessa, have you been telling everyone that I'm your servant?" I pointed at myself. Vanessa suddenly looked guilty. Of course, people had only seen her being driven around in a luxury car and made assumptions. She simply never corrected them. She couldn't exactly tell them that her father was only a driver, and she was my driver's daughter. Forget the medicine. I'll buy it myself later. Vanessa assumed I still liked her, so refusing to help Adrian made sense. She looked at me. Where's the food? You at least bought lunch, right? Someone from the cafeteria had told her. They saw me get 2 meals. I calmly said, I ate them. What? You ate both? Vanessa looked visibly upset. I nodded. The students in front heard us and gave me disgusted looks. Are you a pig? You ate 2 whole meals. They were used to kissing up to Vanessa and looking down on me before because they were Vanessa's friends. I'd always shown them respect. I never wanted to offend anyone close to her. I hoped they'd put in a good word for me. Now I realized I'd spoiled them. Whenever Vanessa treated them to a meal, she used my money. I'm spending my own money. Forget 2 meals. I could eat 20 if I wanted. The students in front heard me, and their faces darkened. One finally muttered, Your own money? Doesn't it all come from Vanessa's family? I couldn't be bothered to explain. But Vanessa was getting angry. I brought her no lunch, so she hadn't eaten at all. Her anger boiled over. She turned to me. Ethan, you asked for this. Let's see if you last more than 2 days this time. She stood up and gathered her things. Then she said to Tessa, Let's switch. You sit with him. Whenever Vanessa got upset, this was how she punished me. She'd refuse to sit beside me. After all, having her sit with me was something I'd begged for. She was supposedly my tutor. Sitting beside me meant she could help with class. But thinking back, Vanessa had never taught me anything. She only ordered me around. She still thought this would scare me. I ignored her. Vanessa had missed lunch, and Adrian was still sick. She sat nearby, scowling. She glanced at me by the window. This time, Vanessa was truly furious. She planned to wait until I apologized, then teach me a harsh lesson. After school that afternoon, my Mercedes Maybach waited outside. I walked straight to it. By then, the whole school knew I'd offended Vanessa. Everyone was waiting to laugh at me. When they saw me shamelessly get in, they started pointing and gossiping. He wouldn't even buy Vanessa lunch. How can he still mooch off her family's car? He's only a servant's son. Does he think he's the boss now? Vanessa isn't even here yet, and he still got in. Vanessa's way too nice. If I had to deal with an arrogant servant's son like him, I'd fire him on the spot. I heard all their taunts, but couldn't be bothered to respond. Once inside, I told the driver, Go. The driver looked at me. But Ms. Dalton isn't here yet. Let's wait. Sometimes Vanessa was late because of student council business. I always waited for her. He expected another long wait today. Instead, I immediately ordered him to leave. He ignored my order and even defended Vanessa. It was almost laughable. Mr. Dalton, I'm Dad's only child. What young lady does our family have? Did you fight with Vanessa? Don't worry, sir. I'll discipline her later. Don't bother. Just drive. I don't want to ride with her. And I don't want to see her again. Dennis still hesitated. He refused to obey. He knew how intimidated I was by his daughter. Whenever Vanessa said anything, I never dared argue. He knew ignoring me had no consequences. At worst, Vanessa would scold me. He assumed I'd inherit the family fortune, and it would all belong to his daughter. He no longer saw himself as a driver. He was already acting like my future father-in-law. Are you driving or not? I frowned. Dad had wanted to fire him long ago. He'd heard Dennis was gambling. Dad didn't feel safe keeping a man like that around. But back then I'd lost my mind. I kept defending him. I thought if he stayed, Vanessa could remain at the Hayes estate. So I constantly vouched for him. I even claimed he treated me well. That was the only reason he still had this job. Yet now, he wouldn't even listen to the person who employed him. They're here. Dennis spotted Vanessa at the gate and quickly got out. Vanessa was supporting Adrian as they walked toward the car. Dennis opened the door for her. Vanessa started helping Adrian inside. Because I liked Vanessa and wanted her to ride home with me, Adrian always came along. The driver would drop Adrian off first before taking us home. That wasn't all. Every morning we had to leave early to pick Adrian up first. Before Adrian could get in, I spoke. Didn't you say you wouldn't ride home with me? So why are you getting into my car? The watching students saw this and immediately started berating me. What's wrong with Ethan? That's obviously Vanessa's car. Why is he acting like the owner? Right? Letting him ride along is already generous. Now he won't even let the young lady in? Everyone talked over each other. Vanessa looked at me, her expression stiff. She couldn't understand what had gotten into me. She'd offered me an out, but I wouldn't take it. Do you have to act like this? I'm not even mad about lunch anymore. I decided to forgive you. Ethan, are you really keeping this up? I don't need your forgiveness. Find your own way home. You're not riding with me. Vanessa's face went pale, then livid. She knew everyone believed she was a rich heiress. If she didn't ride with me, her lie would be exposed. So she grabbed me and pulled me out. Then she put Adrian in the car. Vanessa, you've gone too far. I admit she made me furious. I've forgotten many details from this time. But seeing Vanessa act like this, I couldn't understand how I tolerated her, or why I'd ever thought she was wonderful. Vanessa ignored me. She had no intention of being reasonable. She told her father, "Drive." Dennis drove off, leaving me behind. The crowd burst out laughing. Good. That's what he deserves. He's so unreasonable. I pulled out the phone Vanessa had bought herself. It was a bargain bin Nokia. To please her, I'd given her the Apple phone Dad bought me. In exchange, I'd taken her junk phone. I thought it would protect her pride. Now the whole thing seemed ridiculous. Still, I used it to call Dad. Soon, the Mercedes Maybach returned. It stopped at the gate again. Dennis got out, looking grim when he saw me. "Sir, it'd clearly been chewed out. Ask them to get out. I won't ride with them." Dennis looked inside. Vanessa helped Adrian out. Adrian hadn't expected this. His face turned even paler. "Mr. Hayes, it's fine if you don't like me. But you don't need to take it out on Vanessa. She's always treated you well, hasn't she?" Vanessa stopped him. "Don't bother explaining to him." Once they were both out, I got into the car. Before leaving, I rolled down the window and waved at Vanessa with a smile. "Bye." Dennis glanced at me in the mirror, shocked I'd gone this far. He couldn't help speaking up. "Sir, arguments happen. Don't be mad. I'll make Vanessa apologize. But she has no ride now. She'll have to take the bus. Who knows when she'll get home? Everyone else takes the bus. Why can't she?" "Mr. Dalton, did you forget who pays you? If you have a problem with me, why not quit?" He was lecturing me just because I once liked his daughter. Did that mean he could treat me like a nobody? My words scared Dennis into silence. Back home, Margaret saw me. "Sir, why are you alone? Why isn't Miss Dalton with you?" "There is no Miss Dalton in this house anymore." Margaret froze. Her young master had finally come to his senses. Had always treated Vanessa well. So well that she and her father forgot who was in charge. Margaret had wanted to warn me many times, but knew I'd get upset. Hearing me say this now deeply moved her. She looked at me. She had always treated me better than any other servant. But because she questioned Vanessa, I used to resent her. After Vanessa took over the estate, Margaret was the first person she fired. Remembering the past, my eyes stung when I looked at Margaret. "I'm going upstairs." "Okay. Miss Carter is here. I'll send her home." Chloe often visited the estate, but Dad had chosen her for me. And since I loved Vanessa, I couldn't stand Chloe. Whenever she came, I refused to see her and had her sent away. In the end, Chloe and I had barely met. Yet before I died, her people took me to the hospital. She still remembered she was my fiancée. I stopped Margaret. "I'll see her." "Where is she?" "In the backyard, playing with Snowy." In the backyard, I found Chloe feeding Snowy. I'd been the one who wanted this dog. But Vanessa disliked dogs, so I stopped going near him. I never knew Chloe and Snowy got along so well. Before I died, I'd heard that despite having everything going for her, she'd stayed single for years. My eyes reddened. After petting Snowy, Chloe finally looked up at me. She saw me standing in the doorway. She started toward me, then remembered how much I hated her. She stopped. "Mr. Hayes." Chloe was beautiful and unusually composed. Though we were the same age, she carried herself like someone in her 20s. Academically, she always ranked first in the state. Vanessa hated her more than anyone. Vanessa always said Chloe only succeeded because her family gave her every advantage. She claimed she'd do just as well
with Chloe's resources. Chloe's scores always upset Vanessa, so I started treating Chloe like an enemy too. But thinking back, we'd barely interacted. She'd never done anything to me. I fought back my emotions and asked, "Did you need something?" "I came to see you." When I said nothing, Chloe took the hint. "I know you don't want me here. I'll leave." She hadn't expected to see me anyway. She'd only come to visit Snowy. She never expected me to meet her. That alone was enough for her. As she turned to leave, I asked, "Want to stay for dinner?" Chloe froze and stared at me in surprise. "Can I?" The sunset softened my features. Of course. Vanessa wasn't back yet. She was taking Adrian home. Before, I would have waited for her before eating. Margaret was surprised I wanted dinner so early. "Aren't we waiting for Ms. Dalton?" "Why would we?" The staff were used to seeing me worship Vanessa. Now that I'd stopped, they weren't used to it. Margaret didn't press. Okay. I'll arrange it now. Also tell Mr. Dalton not to come back tomorrow. Margaret paused, then understood. It wasn't her place to question me. Understood. After firing Vanessa's father, I sat down in the dining room. Chloe had been sneaking glances at me. When I sat down, she awkwardly looked away. I never knew Chloe was so shy back then. I couldn't resist teasing her. Why won't you look at me? Am I that ugly? My grades were awful, but I was pretty handsome. Without Vanessa ruining me, I'd never have fallen so far. You're not ugly. She looked perfectly calm. But a closer look showed her ears were bright red. I smiled. I hear you're an excellent student. Chloe wasn't used to my warmth. I'm okay. Know any good tutors you could recommend? I couldn't rely on Vanessa anymore. I refused to repeat my last life, assuming Dad would always protect me and never studying. While I still had time, I wanted to improve. Chloe had great resources. A tutor she recommended might actually help. You need a tutor? What about Vanessa? She'd heard my tutor was also my classmate. That was why Vanessa had been living at my estate. I fired her. Vanessa looks down on me and has no patience when teaching me. Every dollar I paid her was wasted. Chloe was surprised, but saw I was serious. She took a sip to hide her nerves. I study on my own. If that's good enough for you, I can tutor you every day. She doubted I'd agree. Before, I wouldn't even look at her. Inviting her to dinner was surprising enough. But instead, my face lit up. Really? Flattered. Chloe nodded. If you want me to, I can. Absolutely. But won't it interfere with your own studies? It's fine. Chloe's face stayed composed, but her eyes were gentle. It won't. She'd finished the high school curriculum and already had guaranteed admission. But she kept quiet, afraid it would bother me. Thanks. My grades are terrible, so please be patient with me. Vanessa was also a top student, but had no patience with me. If I didn't understand after one explanation, she'd insult me. My grades had once been average. After she started tutoring me, they plummeted. She destroyed my confidence. I won't. I'll come by after school from now on. As we ate, Chloe remained quiet. I served her some food. Make yourself at home. Just then, Vanessa returned from taking Adrian home. She'd just learned her father had been fired. He chewed her out. Then she saw we'd started dinner without her. Her face darkened. I glanced at her coldly and kept eating. Vanessa had planned to ask about her father. But seeing Chloe, she snapped. Why is she here? To please Vanessa, I'd avoided getting close to other girls. Whenever Chloe came, I sent her away without a glance. Now I'd invited her to dinner. I said, she's my guest. Got a problem with that? Vanessa sat down and stared at me. You invited her just to make me jealous? Didn't you? Chloe stayed silent. I looked at Vanessa. You're imagining things. You're not that important, Vanessa. I once thought this woman was my whole world. Everything I did revolved around her. But after starting over, all I felt was disgust. Loving someone like her would only drag me into an abyss. If you think being with another girl will upset me, you're delusional, Ethan. I'd love to see you with someone else. Then maybe you'd stop bothering me. With that, Vanessa went upstairs to her room. I was speechless. Once Vanessa left, Chloe's expression grew complicated. Don't listen to her. You're not upset, are you? I wasn't sure. To my surprise, Chloe said nothing and suddenly seemed distant. After dinner, I walked Chloe out. Get home safe. Okay. She left without saying much. When I went back inside, Vanessa came downstairs. Despite everything she'd later do, she was undeniably beautiful. She looked gentle and reserved. That appearance had fooled me. Vanessa confronted me. Why did you fire my dad? She hadn't asked in front of Chloe. She didn't want anyone knowing. She was only the Hayes family driver's daughter. Making a scene before Chloe would humiliate her. I replied flatly, do I need your permission to fire a driver? He's my father. I told him what to do today. Leave him out of it. If you're so tough, fire me instead. The word fire instantly perked me up. I stared at Vanessa. Sure, no problem. What did you just say? Vanessa stared at me in shock. I continued, you always call me stupid, so let's end this. Move out. I'll find another tutor. My grades have only gotten worse since you started teaching me. You're not worth what I pay you. Vanessa thought I was joking. She never expected me to truly fire her as my tutor. Your grades are bad because you're too stupid to keep up. Adrian understands after one explanation. But you're as dumb as a rock. Try paying attention. How is that my fault? Another teacher won't make a difference. No one can teach you. You're the problem. She was still blaming me. Just move out. Ethan. Vanessa frowned. You're still a student. You should focus on school. No wonder your grades are awful. What are you even talking about? Vanessa scoffed. This is all because you're jealous of Adrian and me. You're upset. But right now I only want to study and get into a great college. Unlike you, I can't live off family money. So I can't date you right now. I stared at her, stunned. A few seconds later, I snapped out of it. Who asked you to date me? Vanessa, where does this confidence come from? You really think I still want you? Without my attention, you're nobody. Vanessa assumed I was bluffing. Think whatever you want, but I'm warning you. Invite Chloe to dinner again, and I'll stop talking to you. She stormed into her room and slammed the door. I returned to my room and called Margaret. Margaret, move Vanessa's things out tomorrow. I won't house someone who thinks she can walk all over me. Then I got Chloe's number and saved it. I texted her, "Are you home?" She didn't reply. The next morning, I didn't have to pick up Adrian, so I slept in. I thought Vanessa had already left. Instead, she was waiting at the breakfast table. I sat down and enjoyed my breakfast, because we always rushed to pick up Adrian. I'd rarely eaten a proper breakfast at home. Seeing Vanessa wait for me, I'm not picking him up. You can leave early. After breakfast, I headed outside with Vanessa close behind. A new driver opened the door for me. Vanessa climbed in after me. I looked at her. What's this, Vanessa? Didn't you say you wouldn't ride with me? I remember exactly what you said yesterday. Vanessa pressed her lips together and stayed silent. If Dad hadn't ordered me to appease you, I never would. Your family just had money, and you used it to bully people. Big deal. But her father still needed his job. I didn't waste time arguing and told the driver to go. At school, I got out with Vanessa behind me. Before, Adrian always arrived with us. Today, he came by bus. He hurried over when he saw Vanessa. Adrian looked at me. He still couldn't understand yesterday's scene. How could a servant's son act so arrogantly toward Vanessa? Seeing us arrive together, he asked, "Did you two make up?" I ignored them and walked inside. Vanessa watched me leave without waiting for her. She frowned and told Adrian, "There's no point arguing with him. Still, letting a servant's son push you around like that? You're too nice." Now everyone's saying Ethan is the real young master. Ignore them. My father is close to Ethan. He asked me to look after Ethan, so I can't abandon him. Fine. Hearing she only did it for her father, Adrian felt relieved. When I reached class, Tessa was already there. She blocked me from reaching my seat. "Move." Tessa glanced at me and said, "You're shameless. You left Vanessa and Adrian stranded yesterday, then had the driver take you away." I looked at Tessa and chuckled. "It's my car. I decide who rides in it. It's none of your business. Who are you again?" My confidence made everyone curious. "You're saying that Mercedes Maybach belongs to your family? Who else?" I glanced at the speaker. Tessa laughed. "You, Ethan, we know exactly who you are. Now you're pretending to be some rich heir? Who'd believe you? I heard that driver is your dad. Your whole family works for the Daltons. Vanessa's just too kind to call you out. Otherwise, she'd have thrown you out long ago. Don't keep pushing your luck." Tessa was close to Adrian, who was always with Vanessa, so everyone believed her. Vanessa and Adrian appeared at the classroom door. Vanessa looked uncomfortable because Tessa's insults were actually humiliating her, not me. She walked over and told Tessa, "Go back to your seat." Tessa glanced helplessly at Vanessa. She could tell Vanessa was upset, so she moved her things. Vanessa sat beside me again. I paid no attention to it. I no longer cared what she did. She was a teacher's favorite and knew everyone. No one questioned her switching seats. Tessa sat beside Adrian. Still annoyed, she asked him, "Adrian, what's Vanessa doing?" Ethan walks all over her, yet she still defends him. Ethan just moved in with her. Her father asked her to look after Ethan. That's all. Don't read into it. So that's why. I knew something was off. He even claims that car belongs to his family. Vanessa's phone is obviously expensive, and the gifts she gives you aren't cheap. But Ethan's phone is as cheap as mine. He's pretending to be a rich heir? Who'd buy that? I sat at my desk. I snuck a look at my phone. Chloe finally replied with one word. Yeah. She seemed incredibly cold. She'd been so friendly yesterday, but after going home, she'd turned distant. I texted last night, yet she only replied now. Vanessa sat beside me and saw me checking my messages. Seeing Chloe's name on the screen, she frowned. Nothing about me looked different, but since yesterday, she felt like I'd become someone else. I texted Chloe. Are you still coming to tutor me this afternoon? Chloe again replied with one word. Yeah. As long as she came, I didn't care. I focused completely in class. At lunch, Adrian came to eat with Vanessa. Vanessa glanced at me and asked, Aren't you eating? My focus amazed Vanessa. I hadn't even slept in class. I was still carefully organizing my notes. She used to mock me for thinking only about her. Yet here I was actually studying. Seeing me work through lunch, Vanessa asked out of curiosity. I acted like I hadn't heard her and ignored her. Adrian looked at Vanessa and said, "If Ethan isn't coming, let's go. We can bring him something." "No thanks." I declined. Adrian was a good guy, at least in everyone's eyes. So even when others mocked me behind my back, Adrian always stayed friendly and upbeat. But I didn't want to owe anyone. I packed up my things and stood. I went downstairs alone. Adrian walked beside Vanessa and asked, "What's with him? Why's he ignoring you? What did you do?" Vanessa was confused too. She wanted an answer. No matter how cold she was, I always followed her like a puppy. But since yesterday, despite her doing nothing, I'd stayed distant. It made no sense. "By the way, will you invite him to your birthday party this weekend?" Vanessa's birthday was this week. Last year, I booked the Grand Regency Hotel for her birthday. I arranged everything and let Vanessa invite our classmates. I spent a fortune that night and everyone raved about it. I felt honored just to attend her party. This year was supposed to be the same. I'd arranged everything days ago. If I hadn't fired her, Vanessa wouldn't have worried. But after what I said yesterday, I was still cold today. She couldn't help wondering. If I didn't go, would her party still happen? Watching me walk away, Vanessa reassured herself. "Why worry? He'll definitely come. He'd never ignore my birthday. Maybe he's acting cold to surprise me." That thought relaxed her. She told Adrian, "He'll come. Of course. He's always there for your birthday." That afternoon, Vanessa and Adrian rehearsed for the school anniversary. I didn't wait for her. I went straight home. Chloe was already there. She and Snowy greeted me. Seeing her made me smile. Maybe it was because of our bond in my last life. Now every time I saw her, felt precious and rare. Chloe froze when she saw my smile. She was used to me being spoiled and cold. My recent warmth made her too shy to meet my eyes. I looked at her. I smiled. "You're early. Let's go straight to the study." I took Chloe upstairs. "In class today, I found a lot I didn't understand. I wanted to ask you about it." We sat down in the study. The seat beside me used to be Vanessa's. But even when she sat there, she never taught me seriously. She even thought I disrupted her studies. Chloe sat beside me and took out 2 tests. She wanted to gauge my current level. I carefully finished them and handed them over. Chloe silently reviewed them. I felt embarrassed. "Sorry, I'm really dumb." "It's not you. You've just been using the wrong approach. Let's start with the basics, okay?" I nodded. Chloe kept her head down while teaching, avoiding my eyes and explaining everything carefully. But her way of solving problems was incredibly easy to follow. Many things I couldn't understand before suddenly made sense when she explained them. After teaching for a while, Chloe grew thirsty. She looked up and found me watching her. She swallowed awkwardly and looked back at the problem. "Is something wrong?" "No, you're just really patient with me." "So why are you so cold over text? You only sent me 2 one-word replies. Are you upset about Vanessa and me?" "No. My family came by yesterday, so I was busy. I couldn't reply right away. By the time I saw it, it was morning. If you ever need help, call me anytime." While we studied, my phone suddenly rang. I quickly answered. Vanessa's voice came through. "Ethan, what's this supposed to mean? What did I do now?" Her accusatory tone left me wondering what had upset her. "You had them throw out all my things." I glanced at Chloe and didn't hide anything. I told Vanessa directly, "I told you yesterday that you're fired. So you have no reason to stay at my house, right? I'm studying. Stop bothering me." Then I hung up. Vanessa stood outside, staring at her dumped luggage. She couldn't believe I'd actually thrown her out. After hanging up, I told Chloe, "Let's continue." Chloe agreed. Soon after, the study door flew open. Vanessa stood there, her face dark with rage. Her eyes landed on Chloe and me. Contempt flashed in her eyes. I stood up. "Why are you here? Don't you dislike me? Don't you look down on me? Now you're the one who won't leave me alone." Vanessa stepped forward and
Demanded, "Ethan, humiliating me like this. Is that fun for you?" Chloe stood too. She instinctively stepped in front of me. "Humiliate you?" Seeing Vanessa so furious, I shot back. "You've got it backward. How did I humiliate you? Vanessa, I'm the one you've humiliated. I paid all your living expenses. You spent every day with Adrian, while I followed you like a servant. I waited on both of you, and still endured your contempt. Isn't that humiliation?" Now I was only taking back everything I'd given her. Yet she called that humiliating. Vanessa pressed her lips together. She stared at me. "Don't think bringing someone here will pressure me into doing anything with you. I'll never like you or date you." She turned to leave. Then she walked into the door. I pushed the window open. I watched her go downstairs and grab her luggage. Then she left without hesitation. At least she left decisively. Vanessa had always acted proud around me. Though poor, she seemed fiercely proud. No matter how well I treated her. She supposedly never gave in to money. That was what I'd once admired about her. Now it seemed laughable. Seeing me at the window, Chloe called, "Ethan. Sorry. Let's continue. Maybe I should go. You seem upset." "No, I'm actually in a great mood. I was only remembering the foolish things I'd done in my last life. I wasn't sad about Vanessa. Seeing her like that actually made me happy. At least I no longer had to fear for my future. If I stayed away from Vanessa, I wouldn't get sick or meet the same fate again." Chloe said. "I should go." She headed for the door. I stepped forward and grabbed her hand. Chloe froze and turned to stare at me. "What is it?" I didn't know what I was doing, but I wasn't blind. She looked upset. Whenever Vanessa appeared and said those things, Chloe instinctively pulled away from me. Vanessa and I used to be very close. I'd never hidden my feelings for her. Everyone, including Chloe, probably believed that I still loved Vanessa. And once I truly had. Without my tragic end in my last life, I might never have woken up. When Chloe looked at me, I released her hand. "Are you free Saturday? I'm having dinner at the Grand Regency Hotel. Want to join me?" The food there was excellent. I'd practically starved in my last life. Now I wanted to enjoy myself. Before, I would have taken Vanessa. Now I'd rather bring Chloe. After all, Dad had chosen her as my fiancée. As long as I didn't ruin things after graduation, I'd probably marry Chloe. I used to think Dad didn't respect me. But looking back, Chloe was every bit as beautiful as Vanessa. She was gorgeous and came from a great family. If she wanted me, I was the lucky one. "You're not going with her?" She meant Vanessa. I asked, "Do you want me to be with her? Do you want me avoiding you like before?" "Of course not." "Then it's settled. See you Saturday." I arrived a little late Saturday afternoon. At the entrance, I spotted many familiar faces. They were all dressed to impress. When Adrian's friend Tessa saw me, she couldn't help laughing. "Ethan, you actually had the nerve to show up?" I frowned in confusion. "Why can't I be here? The Grand Regency's owner is a close friend of my dad. I'm a top VIP. I can come whenever I want. So why exactly can't I be here?" Tessa sneered. "Vanessa hasn't spoken to you for days. Now you shamelessly show up for her birthday?" "Vanessa's birthday?" "Right. Today was her birthday. I've been so focused on studying. I'd forgotten. Without their reminder, it would have slipped my mind. I'd already spoken to the Grand Regency's staff. This was Vanessa's 18th birthday. In my last life, on her 18th birthday, I threw her a lavish party at the Grand Regency. It was also the day I learned the truth. "Ethan, will you stop meddling in my life?" I got angry and ignored her. Our Cold War lasted 2 days. But I still apologized first. To make her marry me, I even handed her the company Dad left me. Looking at the lively scene, I ignored them. I'd arranged everything here for Vanessa. Naturally, I'd been expected to pay. But I'd come to my senses and cut her off. Yet she still brought everyone here to spend my money. I wondered how she'd handle the bill. Ignoring their taunts, I entered the elevator. I'd already reserved a table with Chloe. I wondered if she'd arrived. Leaving the elevator, I saw Vanessa chatting with Adrian. She noticed me immediately. Vanessa's eyes locked onto me. "I knew you'd show up. For a moment I thought you really wouldn't." Vanessa approached with a smug smile and teased. "Didn't you say you weren't coming? Don't think showing up means I'll forgive what you did. Ethan, I'm still mad. She always did this." She used her anger to force me to give in. I looked at her with a faint smile. "Did you need something? Aren't you here for my birthday? Why would I celebrate your birthday? You didn't invite me. With all these classmates here, you won't miss me." "Ethan, what do you mean?" Vanessa stared at me irritably. I was still playing tough. Even on her birthday, I insisted on making her angry. Just then, the restaurant manager approached me. "Mr. Hayes, has Chloe arrived?" The manager nodded. "She's already here. Please show me the way." "Thanks." "Of course." As the manager led me to Chloe, Vanessa followed. "Ethan, are you done with this act?" I was actually going to Chloe. Did I think Vanessa was a pushover? I glanced at her. "I'm not causing a scene. You are. You hated me bothering you. Now I've stopped. So what's wrong? Your friend is waiting." I glanced at Adrian, who wanted to follow, but seemed to think better of it. Adrian had never seen Vanessa pursue me like this. Of course, I knew why she was doing it. She didn't miss me. She missed my money. She disliked me but happily enjoyed everything I gave her. She'd refuse my gifts verbally, then gladly take them. Now that I'd cut her off, she panicked. She couldn't let her long-awaited party fall apart. "If this is about Adrian, I can keep my distance from him. Will you stop this now?" For once, she actually compromised. She clearly couldn't bear to lose this party. Of course, if she didn't care about appearances, She wouldn't pretend to be a rich heiress at school. Nor would she invite so many people to her party. So she was afraid of humiliation too. I'd always seen Vanessa act aloof and noble. Now she was compromising over a birthday party. I found it amusing. I nodded. I know you're celebrating your birthday. We shouldn't ruin everyone's fun, right? Then I turned to the manager. I reserved the Rosewood Ballroom here. It's under Vanessa Dalton's name. The manager checked and said, "Yes, Mr. Hayes. Since it's Vanessa's birthday, let her use it." I looked at Vanessa. Happy now. Seeing me give in, Vanessa relaxed. So this was all to make me leave Adrian. You can't stand seeing us together. You're imagining things. I don't care who you date. Vanessa. Eventually you'll understand. Without me, you're nothing. The manager stood silently nearby. My words humiliated Vanessa. I'm done talking to you. She turned and left. The manager looked at me. I'll have the Rosewood Ballroom prepared. I nodded. Yes. But make her pay the full bill before leaving. No one leaves until it's paid. Understood, Mr. Hayes. Once everything was arranged, I went to Chloe. Vanessa returned to Adrian. Seeing her dark expression, Adrian asked, "How'd it go? What were you talking about?" "Nothing important." Vanessa glanced at the sweet, attentive Adrian. Once tonight's party was over, she'd cut me off for good and never be nice to me again. When I walked in, Chloe was studying the menu. She heard me, looked up and met my smiling eyes. "Been waiting long?" "No, I just got here." Chloe watched me. I was a little thin. I naturally sat beside her. Chloe hadn't expected me to sit so close. She tensed up. There were plenty of other seats. I didn't notice her discomfort and asked, "Have you ordered?" "Not yet. I'm still looking." "Let me see." I leaned in and read the menu in her hands. Chloe couldn't focus on the menu anymore. All her attention was on me. I wanted something intense. As if the flavor could remind me I was alive. Those sick days without enough food, warmth, or sleep had been torture. Even after being reborn, I sometimes dreamed I was back in my old life. The food was so spicy. I fanned my mouth. I took a sip of watermelon juice. Chloe asked, "Do you like spicy food?" "Yeah, I do." "You?" "Me too." She played along and picked up some food. A server waited nearby in our private dining room. Soon, the Grand Regency's owner, Victor Grant, walked in. I greeted him politely. "Uncle Victor." Victor smiled at me. "Ethan, you're here too." That told me he wasn't here for me. Sure enough, Victor approached Chloe and said politely, "Ms. Carter, welcome to the Grand Regency. Please tell me if you need anything." He only knew Chloe's identity because he was close to Dad. Most people knew nothing about her background. They had no idea the Carter heiress from Washington, D.C. was living in Oak Ridge. Chloe acknowledged him, then kept eating. She was so aloof. I thought she was warm. Only now did I realize, Chloe simply didn't like talking to people. Victor stood there for a while and personally poured her water. She said nothing. Her unapproachable aura filled the entire room. Victor finally took the hint. "I'll leave you to your meal. Please enjoy." "Wait, Uncle Victor." I called after him. Hearing me, he stopped and came back. "What else can I do for you, Mr. Hayes?" His warm smile made him seem genuinely kind. That was why I'd always liked him. But if I remembered correctly, in my last life, the Grand Regency caught fire 3 days after Vanessa's party. The fire broke out without warning. The kitchen's fire safety measures were inadequate. When the fire started, none of the extinguishers worked. The fire even caused casualties. The Grand Regency had been Oak Ridge's top hotel, but never recovered from that disaster. I heard Victor became seriously ill afterward. I looked at him. "Your fire safety systems are working, right?" Victor looked surprised by the sudden question. "Why the sudden concern, Mr. Hayes? I just think you should have everything checked, especially the kitchen." "Don't worry, our fire safety system is excellent. Nothing could go wrong. We take our guests' safety seriously." I stared at him quietly. "Uncle Victor, could you check it yourself?" Seeing how insistent I was, Victor looked annoyed and stared at me. "What are you implying? Do you not trust me, Mr. Hayes? Your father and I are close friends. He knows what kind of man I am. I run an honest business. You're questioning my integrity." I was about the same age as his son. To him, I was just a kid who knew nothing about business. Chloe spoke up. "Since he asked, you might as well check." Since Victor entered, Chloe had barely spoken to him. She'd only given brief replies to his questions. But now that she'd spoken, Victor respected her request. "All right, I'll check now." Chloe was composed, and her status carried weight. Though she was about my age, people found her words more convincing. After Victor left, I looked at Chloe in surprise. "Why did you back me up?" I'd made the request because I knew what would happen. But from Chloe's perspective, I shouldn't have known anything. Chloe replied, "You asked. Of course I'd help. What if I made it up? Why would that matter?" Chloe continued, "Even if it was a joke, no harm would be done. He'd only waste one trip." She said it all calmly. But as I watched her, warmth flooded my heart. Felt like someone truly trusted me. I remembered the moment I was diagnosed with HIV. No one believed I was a victim. They all said I'd been sleeping around. If I had, I would have owned it. Everyone blamed me and looked at me with disgust. Eventually, I started hating myself too. But the truth was, Vanessa had someone take a needle used on an HIV patient and use it on me. She wanted an excuse not to marry me. Only the person who framed you knows how innocent you are. Chloe and I took our time eating. Afterward, we stayed and ordered dessert. I brought homework, so I worked on it there. Chloe helped explain the problems. We stayed until evening. Vanessa's birthday party ended. But when everyone tried to leave, the hotel stopped them. Vanessa hadn't paid the bill. Vanessa called me. I ignored the first call. Chloe watched me from beside me. Not answering? I know who's calling. I ignored it until Vanessa called twice more. Then I answered. "Ethan, what's this supposed to mean?" Vanessa's voice burned with rage. The angrier she got, the happier I felt. I wanted nothing more to do with her. But I still had to settle the score from my last life. Otherwise, I'd never let go of that rage. I smiled. "What's wrong, Vanessa? Why so angry? Come pay the bill." Vanessa lowered her voice. "Don't make trouble." She'd planned to wait until the party ended, then leave and never deal with me again. She never expected me to set this trap. Now she couldn't pay, and no one was allowed to leave. Everyone was waiting on her. I said, "That's strange. I didn't attend your party. Why should I pay? Why not split the bill with your classmates? You can all chip in. They all care about you. You're all so close. You treat them all the time." I used to give Vanessa a huge monthly allowance. She took it without hesitation. She claimed she'd earned it by tutoring me. She acted generous and often treated everyone. Everyone thought Vanessa was loaded. That made them eager to befriend her. But she was spending my money. "Ethan, do you have to do this? What will it take for you to come pay? If you're asking a favor, act like it. Don't you think?" Over the phone, I heard Vanessa let out a resentful breath. I no longer worshipped her unconditionally. Of course she was angry. I smiled. "Can't do it? Fine. I'm hanging up. Please." Vanessa gripped her phone and clenched her teeth. The hotel staff had blocked them from leaving. I hung up and stood. Then I told Chloe, "I'll be right back." I headed to the Rosewood Ballroom. Everyone from the party was still inside. They were all stuck there. Everyone was waiting for Vanessa to pay. The mood was painfully awkward. No one could leave. Vanessa had no choice but to stay, under everyone's stare. As I arrived, the manager approached. He greeted me politely. "Mr. Hayes." I looked around at everyone. They were all dressed to the nines. That afternoon, they'd all looked down on me. Now none of them looked so smug. After all, few things were more humiliating than being trapped here because you couldn't pay. "What's wrong, everyone? Isn't this Vanessa's birthday party? No one looks very happy." I deliberately studied Vanessa. She looked darker than anyone. Adrian stood nearby, completely lost. "Ms. Dalton hasn't paid the bill. I merely asked them to settle it. That's all? No need to make such a scene. They're my classmates. I'll cover tonight's bill." I handed over my card, and the manager went to run it. Everyone gave me complicated looks. Vanessa had thrown the party, yet she'd called me to pay. What was going on? Couldn't she pay for it herself? Vanessa's face burned with embarrassment. She stared at me. No wonder I'd come so easily. My goal was to humiliate her. I wanted everyone to know she was broke and depended on me. I could have paid quietly. But instead, I made sure everyone saw me swipe the card. I truly lost my mind. Soon, the manager returned my card and handed me the receipt. "It's paid, Mr. Hayes. Here's the receipt." I checked it and deliberately read the total aloud. 860,000. Happy birthday, Vanessa. I'll cover it this year. But there won't be a next time. I glanced at Adrian, who stood beside me. His face had gone ashen. Wait. Ethan gives Vanessa all her money? Isn't she a rich heiress? The truth was a brutal slap in the face. Tessa stepped forward. "Ethan, what kind of joke is this? Vanessa lets you hold her money, and now you call it yours? You're just her servant's kid, looking after it for her. What are you so proud of? Your family lets servants manage its money?" I smiled at Tessa. "Since you insist I'm the son of Vanessa's servant, let me tell you the truth. I'm not. Her father was my family's driver. At the school gate. He abandoned me and drove off with Vanessa and Adrian. He's fired now. If you don't believe me, ask Vanessa." I looked at her. Well, Vanessa? She glared at me bitterly. Despite growing up poor, she'd never been humiliated like this. Now everyone was laughing at her. But she couldn't say a word. I could easily reverse the payment and leave her trapped. She ignored me and walked out. Adrian had witnessed everything, then followed her. The scene was unbearable, but he had to follow. Earlier, he'd gotten carried away and told everyone he was dating Vanessa. He thought Vanessa was a rich heiress, so making their relationship public would earn everyone's envy. He never expected her to be a driver's daughter. Why had she pretended to be an heiress? After they left, I glanced around the room. You're free to go. Get home safely. It was late, so everyone filed out of the Rosewood ballroom. Only after they left did I step outside. The manager escorted me to the elevator. Chloe arrived just then, and we entered together. This time I stayed silent. I'd finally revealed my true identity, but I didn't feel happy. Compared to everything I'd suffered, this small punishment couldn't ease my hatred for Vanessa. Chloe didn't disturb my silence. We reached the lobby. Victor was there. The moment he saw me, he rushed over. Ethan. This time he came for me, not Chloe. Uncle Victor? Victor grabbed my hand. Ethan, thank you so much. Without you, the hotel would have faced a disaster. I checked it myself and found serious problems. My cousin failed at his job. I've already fired him. I'm glad I could help. Victor asked curiously. How did you know our fire safety system had problems? The question caught me off guard, so I made up an excuse. I dreamed about it last night. Victor couldn't help laughing. Fine, I won't ask. I also prepared gifts for both of you. He had his assistant bring them over. There were 2 small gift bags. Thank you. If you ever need anything, come to me. Victor knew how much he owed me and walked us out. The Carter family's car was waiting. I looked out the window. Few pedestrians remained this late, but traffic was still heavy. I was usually talkative around Chloe, but now I was unusually quiet, and she left me alone. She kept wondering how I'd predicted the Grand Regency's fire safety problem. I shouldn't have known more about the hotel than Victor. She'd also heard what happened in the Rosewood ballroom. It was Vanessa's birthday, yet I hadn't stayed with her. Instead, I'd spent the whole day with Chloe. Then I'd publicly humiliated Vanessa. I clearly wanted to cut Vanessa off for good. So why did I look so sad? In truth, my sadness soon passed. I'd been reborn, so I still had a chance to change everything. As long as I avoided my old mistakes, it wasn't too late. Soon I grew sleepy. Studying hard every day had worn me out. I felt like I could never get enough sleep. I was already drowsy and soon leaned over, falling asleep against Chloe. Chloe instantly froze. By the time we reached the Hayes estate, her arm was aching. She didn't dare move and risk waking me, so she stayed perfectly still. Miss Carter, we're here. Chloe glanced outside. Then she looked at my face, unsure whether to wake me. The driver had gotten out and was waiting. But Chloe never woke me. I felt the car stop and woke up, glancing outside. When I realized I was home, I finally looked up at Chloe. She sat there silently, too shy to even look at me. I gently rubbed my stiff neck. I sat up straight. We're here. Chloe nodded. Why didn't you wake me? You were sleeping so soundly. As she spoke, her face remained expressionless. I looked at her and noticed her ears were slightly red. I knew she was shy, but not this shy. When Chloe heard me say her name, she looked at me. I asked, "Are you scared of me?" "No." "Then why won't you look at me whenever you're with me?" "You act like you can't stand me." Chloe cleared her throat. "I'm just not used to being this close to anyone. You're the first." I couldn't help laughing. "Then why didn't you push me away?" Hearing that, Chloe seemed eager to regain control. She asked, "Why did you leave Vanessa? Didn't you love her?" The question caught me off guard. I looked at the empty street ahead. I just realized I don't love her anymore. "It's nothing. I'm going inside." I had just stepped out of the car when the gates to the Hayes estate slowly opened. "Dad," Richard Hayes came to the entrance. My eyes lit up when I saw him. "Dad, you're finally home." Richard was always busy with work. I was usually home alone. We had plenty of staff, but few could keep me in line. And that wasn't all. Even Dad spoiled me and rarely disciplined me. He only cared that I was happy. Being spoiled by Dad had been the happiest time of my life. In my last life, Dad warned me to stop obsessing over Vanessa, but I wouldn't listen. Now that I saw him alive again, he initially wore a stern expression. He wanted to regain some authority as my father. But then I suddenly burst into tears. Richard instantly panicked. He gently patted my shoulder. "What's wrong, son? Who hurt you? Was it that Vanessa girl? I heard you fired both her and her father." I hugged Dad. "Nothing. I just missed you." "Silly kid. You complain when I call too often. By the way, is that the Carter family's car?" Dad's question made me turn around. The Carter family's car was still at the gate. Chloe had already stepped out. She saw my red eyes, which was a little embarrassing. Chloe drove me home. We went out for dinner. Richard looked at me in surprise. Whenever he'd mentioned our engagement before, I'd strongly opposed it. I'd even said I'd never have anything to do with Chloe. Yet now we were going out together. He didn't know what had changed his son. But Richard still called out to Chloe. Chloe, come inside for a while. Hello, Mr. Hayes. I won't come in tonight. I should head home. She glanced at me, then got back in the car. The Carter family's car drove away. Only then did I follow Dad inside. Did Chloe upset you? My red eyes made me look hurt. I shook my head. No. She's been great to me. I sat on the couch while Dad kept watching me. He was still so young. He hadn't been old when he died either. But in my memory when he passed, he had looked ancient. Richard questioned me repeatedly. Only after confirming Vanessa hadn't hurt me did he finally relax. When I woke up Sunday morning, Margaret told me Vanessa was here. Last night's scene flashed through my mind. Vanessa and I had completely fallen out. She should have understood that I'd never spoil her again. Yet she'd come anyway. Downstairs, I found Vanessa wasn't alone. Her father was with her. Dennis sat on the couch and addressed Richard. Mr. Hayes, Vanessa acted foolishly. I've already scolded her. She'll never bully Ethan again. Richard frowned. You don't get to call my son by his first name. He'd long despised the Dalton father and daughter. If he hadn't feared losing his son, he never would have tolerated them. Dennis realized his mistake and quickly apologized. Young master. Of course, young master. When he saw me coming downstairs, he quickly turned toward me. Good morning, young master. I brought Vanessa here today to apologize to you. I turned to Vanessa. She sat there silently, looking sullen. Apologize? Vanessa certainly didn't look apologetic. Every inch of her face screamed reluctance. She clearly still resented me for last night. There was no way she'd apologize willingly. There's no need, Mr. Dalton. Vanessa hasn't offended me. She doesn't owe me an apology. But I heard you fired her. When Dennis himself was fired, he hadn't been this anxious. After all, his salary wasn't much, and he worked long hours. But Vanessa was different. She made a fortune just tutoring me. Someday the entire Hayes family fortune might even be hers. Now that Vanessa and I had completely fallen out, Dennis couldn't possibly accept it. I said, my grades kept getting worse while she tutored me. Vanessa also believes she can't handle the job. She says I'm too stupid to teach. So I honored her wishes and fired her. There's no conflict between us. She didn't do anything upsetting. So an apology isn't necessary. Richard glanced sideways at me. I looked perfectly calm as I spoke. Before, I'd insisted on having Vanessa as my tutor. Dad had no choice but to agree. Now I'd actually fired her. Richard was surprised and moved. His son had finally grown up. I need to study and have breakfast. Richard had the Dalton father and daughter escorted out. After breakfast, I left the house. The driver was waiting outside, and I got in. As the car left the Hayes estate, I saw Vanessa still at the gate. Her father was there too. Unlike his gentle act inside, Dennis raised his hand and slapped her. I knew Vanessa's background. Her father was a compulsive gambler. Her mother couldn't take it and abandoned her. Vanessa lived with her father, borrowing school money from relatives. Once she got older, she found ways to support herself. Despite all that, she still excelled in school and always ranked first. That made me cherish and care for her even more. I gave her the best of everything to make her life easier. But while I cared for her, she never cared for me. I was only her ATM. Adrian was the one she loved. I looked away and headed to school. After what happened yesterday, everyone treated me much more kindly. Classmates started approaching me. Ethan, is your family really that rich? So you gave Vanessa all her money? We always thought she was an heiress. Didn't you already find out? We just don't get it. You treated Vanessa so well. So why did she choose Adrian instead? Why not give me a chance, rich boy? I'll treat you better than Vanessa. I looked at the girl who said it. Her words made me laugh. Just then, Vanessa appeared. Hearing the girl, Vanessa sneered. You wish. He'd have to want you first. He already has a new target. Get in line. A new target? Everyone turned toward me. Who could be better than Vanessa? Was there any girl at their school more impressive than her? Probably not. She might not be an heiress. But Vanessa was beautiful and academically gifted. Everyone still believed she had a bright future. Vanessa ignored them and looked straight at me. You chased me for years. And now you're punishing me because I said no? Ethan, none of this will make me love you. A guy with grades as bad as yours. Who thinks family money makes the world revolve around him? Can't hold a candle to Adrian. Her words reminded everyone that I ranked near the bottom. I wasn't just Vanessa's lapdog. I was also an idiot. Before I could respond, Vanessa brought up last night's party. You told me to invite everyone. I never wanted that party. Then you deliberately embarrassed our classmates. Do you think money lets you trample on people's dignity? And stop claiming you supported me. That money was my tutoring pay. I won't take another cent from you. But don't expect my help again. After saying that, Vanessa switched seats. She acted like she wanted nothing to do with me. She was playing the aloof genius again. That was her usual act. But I hadn't forgotten her begging me last night. When her father slapped her, I'd briefly felt sorry for her. Now I thought she deserved it. I wasn't letting this slide. Tutoring? Vanessa, you actually dare bring that up? Since you started tutoring me, besides spending my money, have you done anything useful? I ranked at the bottom every month. Thanks to your tutoring. Vanessa replied expressionlessly. I've told you before. You're just stupid. How is that my fault? Ethan, why not use your money to buy a brain? Everyone laughed at Vanessa's remark. I stared at her smug face. You're sure I'm the problem? Not your teaching? Vanessa remembered Chloe was tutoring me now. She scoffed. In that case, let's see your score on the next monthly exam. Just improve your ranking by 100 places. And I'll admit I was the problem. She wanted to see if Chloe could really teach me. She was convinced my brain simply didn't work. Deal. I looked at her. She only asked for 100 places. Such a low bar showed how little she thought of me. When I agreed, Vanessa told everyone, you all heard him. If he improves his ranking by 100 places next month, I'll run 6 miles as punishment. Wow. Everyone stared at Vanessa excitedly. Tessa looked at me. If Vanessa has to run 6 miles, you should run 6 miles if you lose. But can you even make it that far, Ethan? If you're scared, just admit defeat. Sure, 100 places isn't that hard. Especially after studying with Chloe these past few days. Her explanations were easy to understand. I could feel myself improving, so I accepted. A bet would push me. A goal would keep me motivated. Vanessa laughed when I agreed. Idiot. She sat down, amazed I'd actually accepted. Whenever she questioned me during tutoring, I knew nothing. She knew exactly how bad I was. She was already looking forward to watching me run 6 miles. They had just made the bet. Adrian stood at the door and heard everything Vanessa said. He'd been upset all night, but now he'd made peace with it. Vanessa was beautiful and brilliant. Her poor background didn't matter. She worked hard and was 100 times better than a loser like me. She could succeed on her own someday. Dating her was still a good deal. With that thought, he approached. Vanessa, your father may only be a driver, but he earns an honest living. And you've always had the best grades. Getting this far despite your background couldn't have been easy. I'll always stand by you. After Adrian said that, everyone who doubted Vanessa was instantly moved. Adrian still refused to abandon Vanessa. What incredible devotion. And Vanessa had always been a top student. Her money wasn't the only reason people liked her. She was genuinely talented and accomplished. Meanwhile, Ethan refused to work hard, yet expected girls to date him. How shameless. I watched the two play off each other and nearly wept over their love story. How touching. They deserved each other forever. My mistake had been getting between them. After Vanessa tore me down, everyone thought I was an idiot. I'd finally shed the labels of lapdog and servant son. Now they avoided me because of my grades. But I didn't care. Compared to the loneliness of my last life, their behavior meant nothing. I still had money and loving parents. I focused on class and ignored them. After school, Dad came to pick me up with Mom. They were both in their 40s now. But in their youth, they'd both been stunning. Even now, they still looked incredible. Mom got out, and the moment she saw me, she gave me a warm hug. Then she thoughtfully opened the car door for me. Vanessa and Adrian had just left the school and witnessed the scene. Several classmates walking with them saw me with an older woman and grew curious. Is that Ethan's new target? Vanessa had mentioned my new target that morning. That woman must be around 40. What's her relationship with Ethan? They started speculating. I knew Ethan couldn't really be a rich heir. I almost thought he was somebody important. No wonder Vanessa won't date him. I wouldn't want a guy like that either. Selling himself this young? Disgusting. Vanessa heard them slander me but didn't bother correcting them. Adrian looked at Vanessa. When she stayed silent, he assumed everyone was right. Suddenly, he felt relieved. My grades might have been terrible, but I could spend a fortune in a single night. Adrian still felt bitter. He'd always felt inferior to me. But now he thought an older woman was supporting me, and that was where my money came from. He felt much better. At least he'd never stoop that low. He'd achieve his dreams through hard work. Someday he'd have everything I had. Adrian and Vanessa boarded the bus. Vanessa said, "I can't take you home today." She could no longer make money tutoring me, so she'd found a part-time job. Her father had racked up huge gambling debts. He'd often taken her money. Now she had to support herself. Adrian nodded. "Okay." My parents took me to buy a new phone. Then they took me to dinner. Chloe was already there when we arrived. Chloe lived with her uncle in Oak Ridge. Thomas Carter and Richard were close friends. This was the two families' first formal meeting. Richard had wanted to arrange this for ages, but I'd strongly opposed it, because Vanessa was all I cared about. So the dinner never happened. Today I finally agreed to come. Richard was deeply relieved. His son had finally grown up and started listening. During dinner, he and Thomas chatted happily. I sat beside Chloe and told her about my bet to raise my ranking by 100 places. When I finished, Chloe only gave a brief acknowledgement. I couldn't read her reaction. "Do you think I was too reckless? That it's too much pressure?" Chloe looked at me. "No." "Then do you think I can do it? I understand everything you've taught me lately. But don't worry." Chloe held my gaze. "Leave it to me. You're actually very smart. You're not nearly as dumb as some people claim." By some people, she meant Vanessa. When Vanessa had called me stupid, Chloe hadn't said anything, but she'd remembered it. Her words made me smile. "That puts my mind at ease. I'll be counting on you for a while." "Of course." As we talked, I noticed the room had gone quiet. I looked up and found Dad and Thomas staring at us. I felt awkward. "Dad, why are you staring?" "No reason. Keep talking." Richard resumed chatting with Thomas, but couldn't help thinking, those two really were close. He'd arranged this engagement himself, so why did it feel like his own boy was being stolen away? After dinner, Richard and Thomas still had business to discuss, so Chloe and I left first. Instead of going home, we found a cafe. I wanted ice cream, so I ordered some. After ordering, I came back and sat beside Chloe. We continued reviewing problems. My mind was fully focused on studying. After all, running 6 miles would nearly kill me. "Here's your order." A server soon brought everything over. I looked up at the person in the server's uniform. It was Vanessa. I stared at her in surprise. "What are you doing here?" Vanessa gave me a cold look. "I should be asking you that. You knew I worked here and came to humiliate me, didn't you?" Even though I'd been acting cold, Vanessa was sure I still loved her. I was only trying to force her to give in. How else could I have found her workplace? Couldn't be a coincidence. "You're overthinking it. This is pure coincidence." Vanessa glanced at Chloe but didn't linger. She turned and left, unwilling to waste another second on us. Seeing her act so smug, I couldn't understand what she was so proud of. I turned and offered Chloe the ice cream. She declined. "You have it." She picked up my backpack and walked out of the cafe with me. I planned to stay longer, but running into Vanessa had ruined the mood. For the next 2 weeks I studied nonstop. Chloe often came to the Hayes estate to tutor me. My grades improved dramatically, but whenever Vanessa saw me studying, she mocked me. "Ethan, if you're having second thoughts, quit now. Don't back out when the scores come in." "Exactly. You're distracting me." I frowned and put in my earbuds. The monthly exam finally ended, and I felt great. I rushed home. The scores weren't out, but I felt I'd done well. Chloe sat in the yard, drinking tea with Snowy beside her. Snowy was getting chubbier. I hugged Snowy and said to Chloe, "You're here early today." "I'm always early. Don't you have other school activities?" Vanessa was also a top student. She and Adrian always had packed schedules. Chloe seemed much less busy. She was always here before I got home. "I have a lot of freedom. No one micromanages me. No school events you have to attend?" "I usually skip them." "Even student council?" Chloe shook her head. "Sometimes I compete, but usually I don't." "Why not?" "It's not very interesting. The teachers think it's an unfair mismatch. It discourages the other students. But I've seen your name in lots of competitions, especially the ones Vanessa entered. She said you always showed up and even cost her first title. That's why she hates you." Chloe quietly took a sip. She rarely missed a competition Vanessa entered. I desperately wanted to know my score, so Chloe and I compared answers in the yard. I'd gotten many right, which put me in a great mood. When the scores came out, our homeroom teacher entered. As usual, she praised Vanessa and Adrian. They had ranked first and second again. Then she added, "But this time, I also want to recognize Ethan Hayes." I instantly perked up. Vanessa glanced at me, with mockery in her eyes. Our teacher continued, "Ethan did very well this time. He used to rank near the bottom, but he's made huge progress." He broke into the top 200 in his grade. If he keeps working, he'll do well on the college entrance exam. Top 200? Everyone's eyes widened. Even Vanessa froze. She'd only expected me to improve by 100 places. Now I'd reached the top 200. Even I hadn't expected such a leap. It was beyond anything I'd imagined. Maybe my last life's suffering had cured me of chasing comfort. Now I took every class seriously. I listened carefully every day, then reviewed everything with Chloe. She was also an excellent teacher. Even difficult problems became simple when she explained them. Hard work really did pay off. Ma'am, are you sure that's right? Ethan's grades were awful. How could he possibly? There's no mistake. Our homeroom teacher looked at me calmly. She'd always been frustrated by having me drag the class down. It had caused her plenty of trouble. She never expected such a huge improvement. Her praise made me happy. Vanessa watched me silently. I said, "Well, weren't you the one who called me stupid? Don't forget your 6-mile run." Vanessa pressed her lips together, utterly confused. How could someone that stupid improve so much? Was Chloe really that good? After school, Vanessa had no choice but to run 6 miles. I didn't go home. I stayed just to watch. I sat nearby watching her struggle after her humiliating loss. A strange thrill rose inside me. Felt amazing. Adrian watched nearby, angry at how heartless I'd become. Tessa looked at me and whispered to Adrian, "It's only the top 200. Why is he acting like he came in first? Vanessa ranked first and isn't that smug. And Adrian ranked second." Adrian looked at Vanessa. He calmly said, "A bet's a bet. Vanessa can take a loss. Right? Even if his grades improved, he still has to go home and don't gossip about him. Adrian, you're too kind." Tessa gently patted Adrian's shoulder. By the time Vanessa finished 6 miles, it was nearly dark. She returned drenched in sweat. She glared at me, satisfied. I nodded. "Nice work. Bet against me again anytime." I stood and happily left campus. Vanessa watched me leave. I was in an exceptionally good mood, even skipping every few steps. She remembered me always fawning over her. Now I couldn't even be bothered to look at her. She thought about Chloe and me. Was I really going to be with Chloe? Chloe and I came from equally prominent families. If we truly ended up together, the moment that thought surfaced, Vanessa felt deeply unsettled. It felt like someone had stolen what belonged to her. "Vanessa." Seeing her stare after me, Adrian asked, "Are you exhausted? Have some water." He handed her a bottle. Vanessa took it. "Thanks." She was always polite around Adrian. Adrian said, "That was rough. Still, it's strange. Ethan's grades were always terrible. How did he improve so fast? Maybe he cheated. I bet he cheated just to make Vanessa lose. Vanessa tutored him every day before, and his grades stayed awful. How could they suddenly jump?" "You always have something to say." Adrian glanced at Tessa. "Don't make accusations without proof. If he comes after you, you'll regret it." Tessa replied, "I'll tell the teacher tomorrow." I rode home, eager to share the news with Chloe. After all, Chloe had helped me beat Vanessa. But Margaret said Miss Carter hadn't come today. Disappointed, I went to change. Then I went to the dining room. Dad was away again, so I was home alone. I called Chloe. Chloe was swimming at home when Lena quietly called to her. "Miss Carter, you have a call." Chloe seemed not to hear, so Lena added, "It's Ethan Hayes." Chloe surfaced and gracefully climbed out. Lena hurried over and wrapped her in a towel. Chloe answered. Her stern expression instantly softened. Then she spoke. "Hey, are you busy? Am I interrupting? I was just swimming. I heard you weren't coming, so I called to tell you something," I said with a smile. "My score improved a lot. I made the top 200. Can you believe it? Vanessa had to run 6 miles today." Watching her eat her words felt amazing. Chloe walked over to a lounge chair and patiently listened to my excitement. After a while I asked, "Are you still there?" "I'm listening. Congratulations." "I'm not bothering you, am I?" "No, I'm free right now." "Tutoring me every day must be exhausting. Why don't you take 2 days off? I'll study alone. If I need help, I'll message you on QChat." "All right." "Chloe." I didn't hang up. "You sound upset. Did something happen? Can I help?" The question stunned Chloe. She thought, I don't sound any different than usual. Yet somehow over the phone, he could tell I was upset. When she stayed silent, I said, "I know you keep things bottled up. But Chloe, we're teammates now, right? You've helped me so much. Let me help you too." Without her tutoring, I never could have scored so well. I couldn't keep taking without giving back. Especially since she didn't need money. Hearing my words, especially when I called us teammates, Chloe smiled helplessly. "Okay." The next day, I arrived at school. Our homeroom teacher entered with a grave expression. She stood at the front, visibly furious. Her presence silenced the room. Her eyes locked onto me. Ethan Hayes, stand up. I stood, confused. She said, someone reported that you cheated on the monthly exam. Do you have an explanation? At the word cheated, I looked around. Everyone was staring at me. Tessa sat beside Adrian, wearing a smug smile. I answered the teacher seriously. Ms. Parker, what evidence supports this accusation? Diane Parker replied, your last monthly exam score was painfully low. This time you improved dramatically. It's hard to explain. To be safe, we've decided to give you a different test. Any objections? Naturally, I wasn't happy about retaking it. Tessa eagerly jumped up. See? I told you he cheated. If you truly earned that score, why be afraid of another test? She stared at me smugly, as if she'd caught me red-handed. It was laughable. You accused me of cheating without any evidence. The accuser has to prove it. So where's your evidence? Without proof, it's slander. If everyone reported me like you did, I'd be retaking tests forever. Why even attend class? Vanessa looked at me in surprise. I'd always been a pushover. When someone got aggressive, I rarely argued back. Yet now, my argument was perfectly clear. Was this really the Ethan she knew? She'd known me for years and understood me completely. But now, I seemed like a different person. Seeing me push back with a solid argument, the teacher said, you can't blame people for being suspicious. This retest will prove your innocence. You don't want everyone doubting you, do you? The teacher kept insisting. She clearly didn't believe I'd earned that score. I smiled. Miss Parker, I'll gladly retake it. I just find it ridiculous to be accused for no reason by my own classmate. Who knows what Tessa's real motive is? If I score even higher, she'll accuse me again. Since she reported me without evidence, she should face consequences. If I'm cleared, how about she leaves the school? Expulsion? The moment she heard that, Miss Parker hesitated. Tessa had better grades, so the teacher naturally favored her. She accused me behind my back. Once that rumor spreads, it could ruin my reputation. What if the pressure drove me to kill myself? Wouldn't I be the real victim? The mention of suicide made everyone tense. I looked at Tessa. What? You're certain I cheated? Scared to bet on it? Of course not. Tessa immediately agreed and told Ms. Parker indignantly, I'll stake my future on it. Everyone knows what Ethan's grades were like. I guarantee he cheated. Since I'd argued instead of immediately accepting the retest, Tessa took it as proof of guilt. She told Ms. Parker, but if Ethan did cheat, he should leave school too. I won't attend school with someone like him. Deal. I agreed before the teacher could respond. Ms. Parker said, Ethan, come to my office after class. She left, while Tessa watched me smugly. Vanessa couldn't believe I'd bet my enrollment. She warned me, Ethan, are you sure about this? If they prove you cheated, you'll be expelled. It'll be even more humiliating. I'd confess to the teacher. One monthly exam isn't a big deal. Apologize sincerely, and I'll ask her to go easy on you. You wanted to beat me, and you already watched me run 6 miles. I won't hold it against you. Vanessa acted like she cared about me. I stared at her. She'd been ignoring me and acting aloof lately. Now she was putting on this fake concern. I smiled. You think I cheated too, don't you? That's why you're pretending to care. Go warn Tessa instead. She's your good friend. Tessa had made the accusation, but Adrian wasn't innocent. He was used to hiding behind his harmless nice guy act. I didn't believe he had nothing to do with this. My last life had shown me exactly who Adrian was. Whenever Vanessa and I had problems, he'd make snide remarks while playing innocent. Vanessa thought she was helping me. When I rejected her kindness, her expression turned cold. Can't you tell I'm trying to help you? Help me? I studied Vanessa curiously. What? Is waiting tables too hard? Regret losing your free ride? At free ride? Vanessa's face darkened. She said nothing. Her part-time job had been rough. School already kept her busy. Student council work kept her out late every night. Worse, her tiny paycheck barely covered anything. I'd accustomed her to luxury. Now she learned how hard it was to live without it. She'd assumed I was just a spoiled rich kid throwing a fit, and would punish her for a few days. But what was happening? I still hadn't come crawling back. Before, no matter how badly she treated me, I always clung to her. She stayed silent instead of denying it. I smiled. You still think I'll stay mad for a few days, then come crawling back to appease you? I understood. I'd also been used to spending freely. Then I was thrown out with nothing. I'd never forgotten that life. Being poor from the start might not feel so bad. But once you're used to luxury, falling into poverty is agonizing. Back then, I lay in bed every day fantasizing That Vanessa would finally come to her senses, believe I was innocent, forgive me, and take me back. I waited until the day I died. But she never believed me. All I got was her wedding and the truth that she'd framed me. Vanessa's life couldn't be easy now. After all, I'd supported her for years. I don't need you. Vanessa pressed her lips together. I continued, if you think I'll come back to appease you, keep dreaming. If you want me back, try begging. Maybe I'll take pity on you and give you a little money. I smiled as I spoke, but felt nothing inside. Even if she begged, I wouldn't forgive her. But I wanted to see Vanessa grovel before me. She was far too proud and I hated it. She caused my horrific death. I wouldn't let her off easily this time. I might as well give her some hope. Vanessa said, dream on. She looked away coldly. I wasn't in any hurry. After class, I went to the teacher's office. Besides Miss Parker, Harold Bennett was there. 2 other teachers had prepared a new test for me. When I finished, they graded it together. My score was excellent. Proved I hadn't cheated on the monthly exam. Miss Parker looked surprised. It seems you truly didn't cheat. But why were your grades so bad before? I remembered how obsessed I'd been with Vanessa. I was immature and never studied seriously. I recently changed tutors. The results speak for themselves. Maybe only those who've left school know how precious it is. School is one of the few relatively fair places. Here, hard work brings visible results. Only after leaving do you learn how cruel the world is. I returned to class. Miss Parker and Mr. Bennett announced the result. When they confirmed I hadn't cheated, Tessa panicked. Impossible. How could he not have cheated? Miss Parker frowned. Our classroom culture has become toxic. Classmates should support each other. Making baseless accusations against someone who improved can crush them. Let this be a lesson to everyone. I looked at Tessa. You said you'd leave school. You're not backing out, right? So you are backing out. Some people really can't keep their word. Then don't make bets next time. Okay? Ethan. Seeing his friend cornered, Adrian stepped in. We're classmates. This isn't necessary. Tessa was trying to help you. She feared you'd gone down the wrong path. She meant no harm. Give her another chance. Once Adrian spoke, the others joined in. Yeah, making her leave school is too much. I smiled. I looked at their self-righteous faces. They truly respected Adrian. Whatever he said became gospel. I looked at Adrian. If you care so much, why don't you leave school for her? You. Adrian pressed his lips together and stared at me. His eyes quickly filled with tears. As if I were bullying him. That made everyone turn on me. Tessa accused you, not Adrian. Why attack him? Right? Adrian usually defends you. He treats every classmate equally. As everyone turned against me, I smiled. Equally? I doubt it. If I were being expelled, would he defend me? Of course I would. I've always told everyone to treat you better. Spare me. I couldn't stand his phony nice guy act. I turned to Tessa. Fine, don't leave. You've already proven your word means nothing. Instead, how about running 12 miles? Tessa stared at me, thinking I was vicious. 12 miles could kill her. She was terrible at sports. Can't do it? Then leave school. I scoffed and sat down. Whether Tessa left school didn't matter to me. But without punishment, everyone would think they could walk over me. She had to pay a price. Tessa said, fine, I'll run. And while you run, apologize loudly. Say you falsely accused me and I didn't cheat. Make sure everyone knows what you did. Isn't that going too far? You'll humiliate her before the whole school. Compared to her, I'm being merciful. After class, Tessa began her 12-mile run. It was the price of staying in school. She had no choice. I sat on the steps and watched every lap. I wasn't letting her off. Her stamina was nowhere near Vanessa's. She ran slowly, and shouting left her close to passing out. Adrian approached me. Ethan, Tessa learned her lesson. Let her off this once. She isn't as athletic as Vanessa. 12 miles could kill her. So if your rumor drove me to suicide, I'd deserve it? But you're fine. You'd never do something like that. I turned my gaze to Adrian. The afternoon sun shone behind him. His shadowed face looked smug and condescending. I remembered just before my miserable death, Adrian had called solely to mock me. I didn't know whether he'd helped Vanessa, but he'd known everything. Together they'd killed me, and now he called me cruel. You're shameless. How long will you keep up this innocent act? Do you think I should be like everyone else and indulge your every word? If you object, run for Tessa. Otherwise, spare me the lecture. Seeing Adrian attacked, Vanessa came over. Ethan, stop going too far. Adrian's only warning you. Because you can't handle the consequences if something happens. I looked up at her. What? The beauty rescuing her hero. He came at me. If he can't take it, he should stay away. You bought all his gifts with my money. You don't really think he wants nothing from you? Except your poverty and gambling addict father, do you? Adrian knew Vanessa's father was a driver, but not a gambler. He glanced at Vanessa and saw her grim expression. Ignoring that revelation for now, he turned to me. Ethan, do you hate me? And target my friend because of Vanessa? If you think I stole her, you can have her back. Adrian, don't say that. I don't even like him. Enough. Heat Vanessa. I don't recycle trash. Before Vanessa could respond, I continued. As for Tessa, the whole school knows she attacked me first. I'm already being generous. If she won't run, she can leave school. I'm not stopping her. I used to worry about looking nice and never hurting anyone. In the end, I became everyone's punching bag. This life I'd live for myself and ignore what others thought. Vanessa decided I was beyond reason and told Adrian. Adrian, he doesn't need our concern. When something happens to Tessa, he'll regret it. Let's go. She pulled Adrian away from me. Tessa had poor stamina and passed out after 6 miles. Vanessa and Adrian called an ambulance. I followed them to the hospital. Vanessa looked at me smugly. Happy now? Of course. Why wouldn't I be? I called the hospital director and had him send the best doctors. Then I covered every medical expense. Vanessa and Adrian had planned to use Tessa's collapse against me. Now they had nothing to say. Adrian stayed by Tessa's bed as she woke up. Are you okay? Adrian. Adrian gently patted her shoulder. How do you feel? Everything hurts. Tessa played the victim while I leisurely drank some yogurt. The specialists already examined you. You're perfectly healthy, just out of shape. They recommend exercise. Finish the remaining 6 miles tomorrow. Tessa's eyes widened. She'd passed out. Yet I still expected her to run 6 more miles. You're insane. Are you trying to kill me? Relax. You won't die. If you pass out again, every specialist here will treat you. Tessa's face turned red with rage. I raised an eyebrow and asked gently, what? You're not backing out, are you? You can always leave school instead. You're going too far. I hear your parents both work at Summit Group. Hearing me mention her family, Tessa stared at me wide-eyed. Ethan, you investigated me? So what if I did? Tessa clenched her fists. I'll finish it tomorrow. Glad to hear it. Your medical bills are paid. Don't worry. Until you finish those 6 miles. Even if you die, I'll have the doctors bring you back. With that, I walked out. Vanessa watched my cold expression as I left and frowned. Tessa was fine. After getting in 4 and resting, Adrian and Vanessa took her home. Kept busy too. Once home, I photographed the receipts and medical report and posted them in our class chat. I'd seen too many people fake claims for money. I wasn't leaving anyone ammunition against me. After handling everything, I finally lay down. The next day, Tessa obediently ran the remaining 6 miles. After that incident, she no longer dared act arrogant around me. Even when she resented me, she only complained behind my back. She no longer bossed me around to my face. Everyone else became wary of me too. They'd seen what happened when someone crossed me. It also helped that I was rich. Cross me and I'd even pay your hospital bill. They stopped calling me a lapdog or mocking my grades. Instead, they whispered about the older woman every day. The rumor even reached the school forum. Someone had posted my photo with it. By the time I saw it, the post had tons of replies. They no longer dared confront me, so they hid online. Behind anonymous accounts, no one knew who they were. Monday afternoon, I had just left school when I saw 2 pretty girls at the gate. Their uniforms were from Lakewood High School. They're gorgeous. That's Sienna Hart. She's from the Lakewood Tennis Club. Before, Vanessa was the only girl I noticed. I'd barely paid attention to anyone else. Sienna's name sounded familiar, but I couldn't remember what she looked like. This time, I took a good look at Sienna. She had a great figure. But as for her looks, she was nowhere near Chloe. How had I been so blind in my last life that I rejected Chloe? Looking at Chloe now, I realized she was absolutely stunning. She outshone everyone. My driver was waiting outside. I was heading to the car when Sienna blocked my path. You're Ethan Hayes, right? Sienna studied me curiously. Who are you? I don't think we know each other. Sienna smirked. You've been all over the school forums lately. The rumors even reached our school. They say you're not someone to mess with. The story of how I'd punished Tessa had spread in vivid detail. Being called out to my face was pretty amusing. I wasn't angry. I calmly asked, are you Sienna Hart? Sienna stared at me in shock. You know who I am? Don't tell me you're into me. I'm not into kept men. She even covered her chest. She acted like knowing her name meant I wanted to grope her. Her vanity made me laugh. Is your family too poor to own a mirror? If you're really that broke, I'll buy you one so you can take a good look. You really think I'd want you? I walked away with my backpack. My insult stung Sienna and wounded her pride. Hey, why would you say that? I'm pretty, okay? I ignored her and got into the car. Sienna stood there as a smile slowly formed. Ethan Hayes, right? You actually called me ugly. I won't forget that. Chloe was there when I got home. After disappearing for days, she'd finally returned. Snowy hadn't seen her in days and was extra affectionate. Done with everything? Chloe stood. I glanced at her and was struck by how beautiful she was. I thought tutoring me was too much trouble. And you weren't coming back. I tried other tutors recently, but none taught as effectively as Chloe. I'd never do that. I've just had a lot going on. So, you don't owe me an explanation. I'm just glad you're willing to tutor me. If you have other things to do, go take care of them. Despite how I treated her in my last life, she still cared about me until the end. She even had her people recover my body. Compared to what I'd done to her, being busy for a few days meant nothing. Hearing that, Chloe nodded. Let's study. Chloe and I went into the study. After several days apart, I had tons of questions for her. While I did my homework, Chloe watched beside me. She'd naturally seen the rumors online. She'd been worried that they might have hurt me, but I seemed perfectly fine, so she kept her concerns to herself. Chloe's phone chimed. She picked it up and glanced at the screen. It was a message from Sienna. Though Chloe had already agreed, Sienna worried she'd change her mind. Chloe always did whatever she felt like. Chloe replied, "Yeah, I'm coming to your school this week." "What? Why are you coming to my school?" I looked at her in surprise. "There's a tennis match. It's being held at Northgate's Tennis Center. Then I'll come cheer for you." Hearing that, Chloe nodded. Okay. She remembered that whenever she saw me before, I was always following Vanessa. Vanessa was the only person I ever saw. Maybe I'd never noticed Chloe at all. But now I'd offered to cheer for her. A faint smile touched Chloe's lips. The match was Thursday afternoon. The school was buzzing before it even began. Everyone whispered excitedly. The Lakewood girls' tennis team is always strong. Sienna came here the other day. She's gorgeous. Please. She's nowhere near Vanessa. Vanessa truly excelled in everything. She had great grades, played tennis well, and was beautiful. That gave her plenty of fans at school. Adrian had been irritated for days. What I'd said about Vanessa's father being a gambler especially bothered him. He knew what gamblers were like. I kept reading and ignored them. Before, whenever Vanessa competed, I'd be the first to organize a cheering section. Looking back, that was ridiculous. Everyone was still saying I was with an older woman. They were busy cheering for Vanessa and didn't invite me. Someone said, "I hear Chloe goes to Lakewood too. I wonder if she'll come." Chloe's the only student who, on every exam, always ranks above Vanessa. Everyone knew Chloe's name. Probably not. I hear she rarely competes. Seeing her in person is incredibly rare. Vanessa's face darkened as they discussed Chloe. Clearly uncomfortable, she slowly looked toward me. Seeing me absorbed in my book irritated her. Was I really not going to cheer for her? She asked. Does studying this hard every day really matter? Surprised she cared. I smirked. Of course. Unlike you, I wasn't already a top student. I naturally need more time. What? Can't stand seeing me improve. Why would I care if you improve? I'm already rich and handsome. If I beat you and Adrian in school too, what would you have left? Vanessa chuckled. Ethan, you have improved. But you barely made the top 200. Competition only gets tougher from there. You may fall right back next time. Why would I fear you passing me? She considered my top 200 ranking a miracle. Vanessa didn't believe I could ever surpass her. Chloe only did because she was exceptionally gifted. Vanessa couldn't fathom how Chloe's mind worked. But no amount of effort could overcome Vanessa's years of experience. I calmly said, "Who knows? No one can predict the future. Whatever. I need to get ready for the match." She stood and left the classroom. Adrian sat beside me, listening to Vanessa and me. His fingers tightened unconsciously. Still, he approached me graciously and asked, "Ethan, we're going to cheer for Vanessa later. Want to join us?" Since I'd cut Vanessa off, she'd stopped giving Adrian gifts. Adrian realized they needed to win me back. They couldn't cut me off forever. If I kept loving Vanessa, I'd keep spending money on her. Then neither of them would struggle. Vanessa now worked part-time every day. Her pay barely supported herself. She couldn't even take Adrian home every day anymore. Life was nothing like when I'd supported her. I immediately rejected Adrian's offer. "I'm not going." "Why? Vanessa still treats you well. She often says nice things about you. We all used to be friends. There's no need to make things this tense." I glanced at Adrian and remembered my last life. to convince Vanessa to marry me. I'd handed Hayes Holdings over to her. Back then, Adrian praised Vanessa to me every day. He acted generous, never worried I'd take her from him. I once thought Adrian was a good person. Later, I learned it wasn't that he didn't care. He knew Vanessa loved him and would never love me. But being with me brought her plenty of benefits. Hearing Adrian defend her now didn't fool me. I have standards for my friends. Adrian froze. Seeing me dismiss him, everyone jumped to his defense. Forget it, Adrian. If he doesn't want to go, leave him. They left to go cheer for Vanessa. After finishing my work, I headed to the gym. Vanessa had changed into her tennis uniform. She stopped in front of Adrian. Adrian watched her smile. The moment I arrived, Vanessa looked at me. Didn't he say he wasn't coming? Adrian followed her gaze and saw me. Ethan? I glanced at them and ignored them. I headed straight for the stands to find a good seat. Eventually, I found a seat in the front row. I deliberately sat away from Adrian's group. I sat down but didn't see Chloe. Instead, I spotted Sienna from the other day. Sienna walked up to me. Ethan, don't you owe me an apology for insulting me? I scoffed. You sure you didn't start it? I wouldn't have insulted her if she hadn't brought up that rumor. Sienna looked confused. What did I do? You spread rumors about guys. Who else should I blame? Everyone was saying it. If everyone called you gay, would that make it true? Sienna tensed. Who said that? She actually believed me, and I burst out laughing. Still curious, Sienna pressed. When you asked my name, were you? Unbelievable. Guess you still haven't looked in a mirror. Sienna asked. Who's prettier, Vanessa or me? Vanessa was Northgate's most beautiful girl, but Sienna thought she compared pretty well. I laughed. What, you want to compete with her? Afraid of what I'd say? Sienna quickly cut me off. I'm asking if I have a chance. You liked her so much, why not like me instead? What do you say? She flipped her hair and winked at me. A boy nearby gasped. She's gorgeous. It was the cheesiest pickup attempt I'd ever seen. I ignored her. Just then, screams erupted across the gym. I looked toward the entrance and saw Chloe. Their uniforms were pure white. Chloe wore number 11. Everyone had been watching Sienna. But the moment Chloe appeared, all eyes shifted to her. No one expected Chloe to show up. Seeing Chloe, Sienna stopped talking to me and hurried over. Chloe. Seeing Chloe made me smile. I waved at her. Chloe saw me, but kept her usual calm expression. Sienna stood quietly beside Chloe and followed her gaze. She saw me enthusiastically waving at Chloe and grimaced. So he rejected me because he wanted Chloe. Too bad Chloe never cared about guys. She never gave them a second glance. He was in for a disappointment. Chloe and Sienna went to warm up. Vanessa noticed my expression. The moment Chloe appeared, I'd started fawning over her. Vanessa couldn't help chuckling. Adrian looked at her. Has Ethan fallen for Chloe? The instant Chloe appeared, Adrian was captivated too. But he knew perfectly well. Someone like Chloe was far beyond his reach. She excelled at everything and came from a prominent family. He'd also heard she wasn't interested in guys. Unlike Vanessa, he wouldn't fall for someone he could never have. Chloe had better grades, a better background, and more money than Ethan. Adrian could understand Ethan wanting Vanessa, but Ethan actually had his sights on Chloe. Adrian couldn't understand it. Vanessa didn't respond. I'm going to warm up. She thought I came to see her. Instead, I was here to cheer for Chloe. Vanessa was incredibly irritated. She'd always thought that once I stopped watching her, she'd be happier than anyone. I clung to her like gum, impossible to peel off. But now that I no longer needed her, she felt restless. Vanessa had always seen Chloe as her greatest rival. While living at the Hayes estate, she realized Richard wanted to arrange my marriage, and my intended bride was Chloe. Back then, Vanessa had thought, so what if Chloe surpassed her in every way? The man Chloe would marry was Vanessa's lapdog. A man Vanessa didn't even want. That thought always delighted her. After losing to Chloe for so long, it finally felt like a win. But now all my attention had shifted to Chloe. Vanessa felt deeply unsettled. Tessa stood beside Adrian. I sat across the stands and bought some water, sharing it with the boys around me. Some of them had talked trash about me. After all, they weren't in my class. It was natural they'd believed the rumors. But after meeting me, they found I was actually nice. The boys who accepted my drinks started looking at me much more warmly. Is he trying to win people over? Chloe's here. He must be showing off for her. You mean he's actually chasing Chloe? Oh my God, has he lost his mind? And he's so shamelessly obvious about it. I just saw Sienna talking to him too. Does he go after every halfway pretty girl? Adrian sighed. He can afford to. He isn't at school to study anyway. He's actually kind of pitiful. If his parents disciplined him, maybe he'd be different. Tessa scoffed. What's pitiful about him? You're too kind, always defending people. Tessa only dared mock me behind my back now. She wouldn't say anything to my face. The girls' tennis match soon began, and I watched intently. Today's match was especially intense from the start. Sienna and Vanessa were each given a yellow card. The crowd was stunned. Matches normally don't get this heated right away. Vanessa had initially come after Chloe. She had to play better than Chloe, so I'd want her again. She could reject me, but I couldn't stop liking her. She wanted to prove she was the one worth loving. But Sienna suddenly kept targeting her. This match was easy for Chloe. She was way above varsity level. Lakewood's team was strong. But even playing alongside them, Chloe was in a league of her own. After a few shots, she started taking it easy. I quietly watched her from the stands. She had a totally different vibe from everyone else. While Vanessa was desperate to win but couldn't find an opening, Chloe looked like she was just having fun. At halftime, their break area was right in front of me. Chloe sat there watching Sienna closely. "You're really going all out today." She'd noticed Sienna constantly watching Vanessa. She normally wouldn't play like this. "Some guy called me ugly. I have to show him what I've got. Make him see what this queen can do." Chloe didn't think much of Sienna's answer. After drinking some water, Sienna turned and spotted me in the stands. She smiled and called out, "How was that? Pretty badass, right? I crushed your Vanessa." After Sienna said that, Chloe shot her a look. Sienna didn't know why, but the back of her neck suddenly felt cold. Compared to Sienna's fiery enthusiasm, Chloe seemed much less enthusiastic about me. Even when Sienna turned to look at me, Chloe didn't. She just sat there. Chloe had always been reserved. Maybe she didn't like drawing attention in public. But that only made her more interesting to me. I smiled and shouted, "Chloe, you're amazing." Hearing me call out to Chloe, Sienna snorted. "He's just trying to annoy me. We argued a few days ago, and he's still holding a grudge." Chloe glanced at the loose-lipped Sienna. "Is that so?" In the second half, Chloe got serious. In the first half, Vanessa and Sienna had gone back and forth. But once Chloe stepped in, Vanessa couldn't fight back at all. The match ended in a total blowout. Northgate got crushed, and Vanessa got it worst of all. People always compared Lakewood's Chloe to Northgate's Vanessa. Over time, everyone came to believe that they were nearly evenly matched. But today's match gave everyone their answer. Vanessa couldn't match Chloe in any way. Every time Chloe scored, I went wild in the stands. I'd never truly paid attention to Chloe before. I had no idea how capable she was. Looking back, I really had been blind. Tessa and Adrian had organized a cheering group. They'd come to support Vanessa. But now, they couldn't even cheer. On my side, Chloe already had more fans. Now everyone was thrilled. Especially me. I couldn't take my eyes off Chloe. I even squealed for her under my breath. Tessa rolled her eyes. Does he forget he goes to Northgate? Good thing Chloe would never want him. Otherwise, he'd make her sick. As soon as Tessa finished, Chloe walked toward the stands after the match. She stopped right in front of me. As she came closer, the other guys stared in awe. I looked at her. "You're incredible," Chloe said. "Give me some water." Her voice was soft and warm, like a spring breeze. I'd never known someone could be so talented and sound so beautiful. The nearest guy quickly offered her a bottle. But Chloe didn't take it. She looked at me, so I handed her one myself. "You were so amazing." I said it softly, but those few words still made Chloe smile. Under my gaze, she gulped down the water. Sienna, who had wanted to impress me, stared wide-eyed. What was going on? I'd worked hard all day to impress him and win him over. But Chloe had beaten me to it. The thing was, Chloe had never been interested in guys. Even during matches, she brought her own water and avoided guys. She didn't like people getting close. At school, she always kept everyone at a distance. So why now? Had Chloe actually fallen for him? The thought shocked Sienna. After drinking, Chloe looked at me. "I'll go change. We'll head out together after school." "Okay." As Chloe walked back, Sienna stared at the sky in disbelief. "Chloe, you know him?" Chloe calmly said, "I'm pursuing him." Seeing Sienna stare, Chloe asked, "What? Do you have a problem with that?" Sienna didn't dare. Of course not. She just never expected Ethan to be the one Chloe wanted. Especially after remembering what she'd just said in front of Chloe, Sienna wanted to slap herself. Sienna quickly apologized to Chloe. "I honestly didn't mean it. I didn't know he was. If I'd known, I never would have acted like that." Chloe stayed calm. "It's fine. He wouldn't want you anyway. So how far have you two gotten?" "He doesn't like me yet, even though I'm his tutor." Chloe believed I still liked Vanessa, not her. Maybe she was just someone I used to make Vanessa jealous. But if she could be useful to me, she didn't mind. Just being by my side already made her happy. After hearing Chloe, Sienna couldn't help looking back at me in the stands. I was watching Chloe so intently and cheering so earnestly. She thought I was Chloe's lapdog. Turns out her Chloe was the one chasing someone else. Unlike the calm people involved, everyone else acted like they'd heard the biggest gossip ever. The QChat group exploded with messages too. Does Chloe like Ethan? I used to be Vanessa's lapdog, and she never wanted me. I ran errands for her every day like a servant. But now Chloe, who beat Vanessa in every way, was involved with me. Vanessa changed and walked out of the gym. She looked especially gloomy. She'd lost, and Chloe had utterly destroyed her. Adrian and Tessa followed closely, wanting to comfort her. But they didn't know what to say. They were upset too. A second ago, they'd thought someone like Chloe could never want me. Then Chloe went right over and spoke to me. Is Chloe blind? How could she like him? Didn't Chloe know who Ethan was? Adrian's face darkened. He'd thought that no matter what I did, Vanessa would always be on his side. But seeing Chloe get close to me today nearly drove him insane. Why was a guy like Ethan rich and able to get someone like Chloe too? Was it because they hadn't tried hard enough? Maybe if they cheered for Chloe too. The guys I'd been sitting with looked at me. Ethan, you knew Chloe already? I casually said. Yeah. Then they asked, so are you too? They'd been nearby, and Chloe's look at me had been different. She clearly didn't see me as just anyone. So they couldn't help wondering. No, we're just engaged. I've been pretty forward with Chloe. But that was only because of my last life. In this life, I wasn't sure how Chloe saw me beyond our engagement. After what happened with Vanessa, I didn't dare get ahead of myself. I didn't want to be seen as a lapdog again. Seeing their curiosity, I said, our families know each other. That's why we're a little close. I see. Your family really is loaded. After waving goodbye to some guys from other classes, I went back to class. Everyone was looking at me. I was used to them making a big deal out of everything. I quietly took my seat. A girl in front of me stared and said sarcastically, we lost. But you seem pretty happy. She was Vanessa's teammate. I smiled. You lost, not me. Why would I be upset? Chloe likes you. So you think you're a big deal now? I gave a quiet laugh. What? Mad she didn't choose you. That shut her up. She closed her mouth angrily. Vanessa returned a while later with Adrian and Tessa. Vanessa sat down. I glanced at her. I could tell her anger was about to boil over. She always got this angry whenever she lost to Chloe. I used to share her anger. Now I just found it funny. Vanessa looked at me. When she saw my smirk, her eyes turned colder. Why are you looking at me? You're not good enough, and somehow that's my fault. Vanessa stared me down. She'd lost. And instead of comforting her, I was mocking her. It disgusted her. Whenever she used to lose to Chloe, I'd buy her things and give her gifts to cheer her up. I'd tell her she was better than Chloe. Now I was making fun of her. The bell rang. I quickly packed up and stood. I left the classroom. Seeing me go, Vanessa stood too. She grabbed her things and rushed out after me. Even Adrian couldn't keep up. I'd barely reached the stairs when Vanessa caught up and grabbed my arm. I looked at her, surprised. Vanessa, what are you doing? Vanessa stared at me with red eyes. I froze too, holding back her emotions. Vanessa asked, are you really planning to be with Chloe from now on? Her question caught me off guard. She'd never cared about this before. What was this about? Vanessa looked at me like I'd betrayed her. I tried to remove her hand from my wrist, but she was holding tight. I couldn't help smiling. Didn't you hate me clinging to you? You said every day I chased you was a nightmare for you. Those were the words she'd said to me before I died. Without them, I never would have known that my love made her feel so disgusted. My wholehearted love hadn't just meant nothing to her. It was a burden. Vanessa froze at my words. I never said that. She didn't remember ever saying that. Of course, I knew this Vanessa hadn't said it yet. But that didn't mean she hadn't thought it. I sneered. But you always hated me, didn't you? If you didn't, why were you always with Adrian, giving him my things? You treated him so well and treated me like your servant. As I spoke, I forced a few tears into my eyes. I no longer loved Vanessa. After everything I'd been through, all I had left was hate. I'd already died once. How could I still love her? But in my last life, I'd spent my whole life craving her love. I only wanted her to care about me a little more. And in the end, I met that tragic fate. Whenever I remembered it, overwhelming grief filled my heart. The grief flooded through me. If I hadn't been reborn, how pitiful would I have been? Abandoned in that rundown rental. My eyes welled up. Vanessa stared at them. She'd only come because she hated seeing me so close to Chloe. But now, she saw a sadness in my eyes she'd never seen before. She simply didn't love me. She loved Adrian. So why did my eyes make it seem like she'd committed something unforgivable? Had she hurt me that deeply? I don't know. I just don't want to talk about relationships. Even now, she was making excuses. I wiped away my tears. I know you just don't want a relationship with me. You and Adrian are the ones who belong together, right? Then whether I'm with Chloe or Sienna is none of your business, right? She wanted to say more. My reaction had genuinely made her feel guilty. As we faced off, Adrian and Tessa arrived. Adrian stood at the top of the stairs watching Vanessa and me. Adrian stared in surprise. From where he stood, Vanessa and I were very close, and she was still holding my hand. The moment Adrian appeared, she seemed to remember something and quickly let go. Seeing her instinctive reaction, I gave a bitter smile. Don't come find me alone anymore. Adrian might misunderstand. With that, I turned and walked downstairs. The moment I got downstairs, I wiped every trace of tears from my eyes. I had no reason to cry over trash like her. I'd only been messing with her. She'd deceived me in my last life. I wouldn't let her off easily this time. Whenever she felt desperate, I'd give her a little hope that I still loved her. After I left, Adrian slowly came downstairs and asked Vanessa, "What happened between you two?" I think I saw him crying. "I'm going home." She wasn't in the mood for anything and didn't know how to explain it to Adrian. My reaction had proven that I still loved her. So I'd chosen Chloe only because Vanessa had been too cold to me. Maybe she shouldn't have let me know she was with Adrian. As I left school, I found Chloe quietly waiting at the gate. She'd changed out of her tennis uniform and into her Lakewood uniform. Sienna was beside her. They were both patiently waiting for me. Sienna spotted me first. "My future brother-in-law is here." Hearing that, Chloe turned toward me. A crowd had gathered around campus, all watching Chloe. She had one kind of charm on the court, and another standing here. In the same uniform, Sienna looked a little plain. But Chloe looked stunning in that clean, simple uniform. When she saw me, Chloe walked over and took my backpack. It was clear she genuinely treated me well. I wasn't the one chasing after her. Chloe didn't seem to care what anyone thought. She looked at me. "Let's get dinner first." I nodded. Vanessa hadn't affected my mood at all. That woman wasn't worth my energy. Sienna saw me. "Hey, brother-in-law." I looked up and rolled my eyes. Seeing I wasn't pleased, Sienna quickly apologized. I didn't know who I was dealing with before. I accidentally upset you. Please don't be mad at me. I really messed up." She kept calling me brother-in-law, so I couldn't be bothered to argue. I only asked Chloe, "Are you two friends?" My tone clearly carried some disdain. Chloe glanced at Sienna and told me, "No. Come on, brother-in-law. It's all my fault. I apologize. You're the first person to call me out like that. I remember it perfectly. I was wrong. It's those people online spreading nonsense. I'll find out who did it. I'll get revenge for you, brother-in-law." The Carter family car had arrived. Chloe ignored Sienna, opened the door, and looked at me. "Get in." Sienna stood by the road and watched Chloe and me get in. She politely waved to us. "I'll leave you two alone. I'm heading home. See you next time, brother-in-law. Wishing you and Chloe a long, happy life. And lots of kids." Chloe rolled up the window and told me helplessly, "Ignore her. I didn't know you knew her." Chloe reached over and buckled my seatbelt. "We just play tennis together sometimes." Mentioning tennis made me remember Chloe on the court. I couldn't help saying, "Chloe, you're incredible at tennis. You scored so many points by yourself today. You should have seen how mad Vanessa was." Chloe watched me praise her and calmly said, "She's just bad. If it weren't for Vanessa, I wouldn't have even shown up." Hearing Chloe seriously comment on Vanessa was pretty amusing. I didn't expect her to ever talk badly about someone. Though she was right. You're just too good. I honestly don't know what flaws you even have. You're beautiful, brilliant, and great at tennis. The guys sitting with me today were all crazy about you. I don't know them. I know. I'm just saying you're incredible. But showing up at my school and being so close to me. Aren't you afraid people will gossip?" Chloe looked at me. "What gossip? I don't care." I smiled faintly. She must have already heard the rumors about me. But she'd never mentioned them. Had she come today to stand up for me? The driver took us to a restaurant. The moment we sat down, my phone chimed. I checked it. Vanessa had sent me a message. "I'm sorry." I froze. She'd actually apologized. She clearly didn't want me getting close to Chloe. Maybe people were just like that. She'd always treated me with contempt. But once I moved on, she panicked. Chloe asked, "What do you want to eat?" "Anything's fine. Pick what you want first." Chloe ordered a few dishes. Then remembered I liked spicy food. And ordered some for me too. We'd been having dinner together often lately. Chloe and I had grown close. "Mr. Hayes still isn't back?" "He's pretty busy." The subject made me uneasy. In my last life, Dad died in a car accident before my college entrance exam. Now I spent every day focused on improving my grades. I rarely saw Dad, but he'd always been this busy. Even if I wanted more time with him, he had none to spare. But I had a plan. When the time came, keeping Dad home should prevent the accident. Chloe watched me chew slowly, staring at the table. Lost in thought, she studied me. I often drifted off like this. Her instincts told her I was hiding something. But if I wouldn't tell her, she wouldn't pry. Vanessa returned home. Her father was back from another gambling spree. Dennis was in her room. When she entered, he glared at her. "How are things with Ethan?" "They're not." Vanessa had spent the trip home thinking about me. But seeing her father made her expression turn cold. "What do you mean? I told you to win him back. You still haven't?" Vanessa was speechless at his attitude. "Why should I? He already fired me. You expect me to beg him? Don't I have any dignity?" Seeing me with Chloe had filled Vanessa with regret and made her want to steal me back. But seeing her father like this made her glad she'd left me. She'd barely finished when Dennis charged at her and slapped her. "You ungrateful brat. If you don't win him back, where will we get money? How much do you have? Give it to me now." He'd clearly lost at gambling again. Vanessa stared at him. "You gambled again? Stay out of my business. Don't be disgusting like your mother. I'll beat you to death." "When you had Ethan wrapped around your finger, we had endless money. My gambling didn't matter. But you insisted on dating that broke kid. Now you've let a huge payday slip away. Get him back, or you'll regret it." Her father stormed out. Once he was gone, Vanessa checked beneath the bed where she'd hidden her money. Her father had taken it all. The Dalton apartment was tiny. She'd lived with her father her entire life, with no privacy and few places to hide anything. Back when she had access to my money, she'd secretly saved some. College was approaching, and she'd need money for everything. She couldn't rely on her father, so she had to support herself. But he'd found her savings anyway. When Vanessa went outside, her father was already leaving. Furious, she kicked the wall. After dinner, Chloe and I left the restaurant. It was raining. The Carter family's driver took me home and held an umbrella for me. I got out, and Chloe took the umbrella and walked me to the door. I told her, "That's far enough. It's pouring. Get back in the car." Chloe looked at me gently. "Good night." Her voice was soft. I looked at her and blushed when I saw her sparkling eyes fixed on me. I nodded. "You too. Get some rest. See you tomorrow." Chloe nodded and returned to the car beneath the umbrella. Watching her leave, I realized how happy I was around her. The car soon drove away. I was about to go inside when I heard a familiar voice. "Ethan." I turned and saw Vanessa emerge from the shadows. She had no umbrella. I had no idea how long she'd been there. She was soaked through. I was surprised. "Why are you here?" First she'd texted an apology, and now she'd come here. My little performance that afternoon had clearly worked. Vanessa watched the smile on my face vanish the moment I saw her. "Does being with Chloe make you that happy?" "Yes, she treats me well, unlike you." "So why did you come here? Could you still love me like you used to?" Vanessa had always been cold around me. She'd rarely looked this affectionate. I knew her heart was ice, and everything she did was an act. Still, seeing this new side of her was satisfying. "No. What, are you broke again? You only look at me like this when you need money." Vanessa stared at me. "You're wrong. I only came to see you. I'm leaving." She turned and walked away. But moments later, I saw her collapse. I called Margaret over. Seeing Vanessa on the ground, she asked, "Isn't that Ms. Dalton? What happened?" "I don't know. She fainted." Holding an umbrella, Margaret felt Vanessa's forehead. "She's burning up. It's probably a fever. Should we help her? Bring her inside and call a doctor? Should we put her in her old room?" Margaret asked uncertainly. "Put her in Mr. Dalton's old room." I'd furnished her old room to my own standards. Letting her use it now would be a waste. A driver's room was all she deserved. Margaret had Vanessa moved into the servants' quarters, then called a doctor. Once he confirmed it was only a fever, they left her to rest. I stood by the window looking into the yard. The rain was relentless. I'd showered but couldn't sleep when Chloe texted me. "I'm home." "Okay, I just showered. Get some sleep. Good night." After texting her, I went to sleep. The next morning, Margaret prepared breakfast for me. At the table, I asked, "How's Vanessa?" She woke near dawn and left early. I looked at Margaret in surprise. "Really? I thought she was still here." "I told her to wait until you woke up, but she wouldn't listen." "I can never tell what she's thinking." "Neither can I." "Something's wrong with her." Margaret looked at me. "Miss Carter is much better than her." "You should stay away from Vanessa, sir." Margaret feared I'd lose my head and go back to Vanessa. I smiled. "Don't worry. If she hadn't collapsed at our gate, I wouldn't have helped. I just didn't want a body out front." "Good." Since I'd stopped obsessing over love, Margaret no longer worried about me constantly. Her spoiled young master had truly matured. When I arrived at school that morning, Vanessa had changed and come to class. When she saw me, she lowered her head and ignored me. She was back to her usual cold self. She was unbelievable. I'd practically saved her life last night, and she couldn't even say thank you. Did she think I was still her lapdog? After class, Adrian came over. He and Vanessa had a student council meeting. As they left together, Adrian asked her, "Are you feeling better today?" Vanessa glanced at him. "I'm fine. Losing yesterday wasn't a big deal." After seeing Vanessa with me yesterday, Adrian felt uneasy. Vanessa stayed silent. Her father had stolen her money yesterday, and she was still miserable. Seeing her barely speak to him, Adrian said, "Vanessa, if you want to be friends with Ethan again, I'll support you. You're overthinking it. I feel nothing for Ethan. I just hated seeing him with Chloe. I didn't want them getting off that easy." "That's good, Vanessa. No matter what happens, I'll always support you." Vanessa nodded. She remembered her father wanted to use her to swindle the Hayes family. She refused. Her father had no limits. She wouldn't let him force her into doing something she hated. So after waking that morning, she'd left the Hayes estate immediately. She wanted nothing more to do with me. For a while afterward, Vanessa spent every day with Adrian. She stayed out of my way, so I ignored them. I focused in class and went out whenever I had free time, buying property while prices were low. Soon they'd skyrocket. That afternoon, I left school late after finishing homework. Few people remained at the gate. "Mr. Hayes." Someone called to me as soon as I stepped outside. I looked up and saw Dennis Dalton. "Mr. Dalton, are you here for Vanessa?" "Yes, I came to see her. That ungrateful brat. I've been scolding her constantly. It's her fault for choosing that Brooks kid. She doesn't know what's good for her. Please don't be mad at her." "There's nothing to be mad about." Dennis looked disheveled, making me frown. Just then, Vanessa and Adrian left the school. Seeing Dennis with me, Vanessa approached and yanked me away. She glared at Dennis. "Why are you here?" Dennis had vanished for days after taking her money. If he was back, he'd clearly run out again. Dennis rolled his eyes at her. "I'm talking to my son-in-law. Stay out of it. Get lost." "He's not your son-in-law." She glared at me. "Why are you still here? What are you waiting for? You actually want to marry me? You're not good enough. Get lost." She lashed out at me. I knew she'd always treated me badly, but her outburst still startled me. I glared at her. She always spoke to me this way. Took me a few seconds to recover. "Don't flatter yourself. Who'd want you?" After firing back, I quickly left. Watching me leave, Dennis called, "Son-in-law, don't worry, I'll send Vanessa to see you in a few days. I'll teach that brat a lesson at home." Dennis tried to follow me, but Vanessa blocked him. That made him furious. He glared at Vanessa. "What's wrong with you? You won't win him back? And you won't let me try either? I finally found him, and you drove him away. Can you do one thing right?" I was already in the car. Vanessa blocked her father and glared at him. "Stop coming to my school." "I'll come if I want. Do you have any money?" "No, you took everything last time. That was my college fund. So what have you been doing lately?" The subject enraged Dennis. When Vanessa had me wrapped around her finger, he didn't care what she did. He didn't mind her spending every day with Adrian. I hadn't objected then, but things were different now. I'd abandoned Vanessa because of Adrian. Dennis couldn't let her keep this up. He had to control her. Vanessa said, "It's my life. Just leave. I have to work. Work, work, work. That's all you ever say. How much can that lousy job pay? You'd be better off winning Ethan back. Look how angry you made him. I don't like guys like him. So what? You." Dennis nearly struck Vanessa, but remembered they were at school. "We'll settle this at home. Give me money now. Or I'll go ask Ethan." Vanessa stared at him, then pulled a few $100s from her pocket. "This is all I have. This isn't enough. Get me more, understand? You don't want them chopping off your father's hands, do you? You're heartless. Just like your mother. Then you shouldn't have gambled." Vanessa said coldly, "I don't care what happens to you." She boarded the bus waiting at the gate. Without waiting for him, Dennis was livid. He looked at the cash in his hand and left. His daughter was growing more disobedient by the day. Adrian had originally left school with Vanessa, but after seeing the scene, he stayed hidden. He watched silently from the side. He only emerged after they left. He'd only known Dennis as a driver. He hadn't known the man was Vanessa's father. Vanessa was already broke, yet Dennis still demanded money. That was going too far. He knew stepping in would only make the embarrassing scene worse, so he waited until they were gone. I watched from the car for a while before telling the driver to leave. Vanessa yelling at me seemed ridiculous. I didn't even like her, yet she acted terrified I'd marry her. All because her father had said a few nice things to me. I returned home. Margaret greeted me with a smile. Sir. You're home. Yeah. Who upset you? Seeing my dark expression, Margaret immediately sensed my mood. No one important, just bad luck. When Chloe arrives, send her to the study. Chloe had been arriving late lately. I didn't know what kept her busy. Not long after I went upstairs, Chloe arrived. Mr. Hayes seems upset today. What happened? He didn't say, but it probably involves Vanessa. Only she makes him act that cold. Chloe went upstairs and opened the study door. I was watching the year's hottest comedy sketch on my computer, completely absorbed and laughing happily. Chloe walked over and sat beside me. I looked at her. You're here. Yeah. Something held me up. Have you been busy lately? She used to arrive early every day since her school got out before mine. But lately, she seemed to have a lot going on. At the question, Chloe nodded. Yes, but it won't affect your tutoring. I'll come whenever I can. My grades have improved a lot. You're going to college in Washington, D.C., right? My question caught Chloe off guard. Her family already wanted her to return, but she kept delaying. She looked at me and asked, How did you know? I smiled at her question. Of course I knew from my last life. But that had all happened after the college entrance exam. Back then, I'd never considered leaving Oak Ridge. Vanessa chose a local college, so I stayed in Oak Ridge. In my last life, Vanessa scored high enough for Washington or Jefferson. But she chose to stay in Oak Ridge. I never understood why. Maybe she couldn't leave Oak Ridge or Adrian. I told her everything. She never told me anything. Besides, Dad passed away around that time. I probably will, but not until after the college entrance exam. Think I can get into a college in Washington, D.C.? Chloe looked at me and nodded. Yes, if you want it, you can do it. I closed the video and stretched. Then that's my goal. Chloe looked at me in surprise. You want to go to Washington, D.C.? I just want to give it my best shot. Chloe saw that my confidence had returned. I'm fine. Vanessa just got under my skin. I told her what happened outside school. Isn't it ridiculous? I never said I'd marry her. She acted terrified I'd propose and snapped at me. She's crazy. She loves Adrian, yet acts like I can't live without her. I was blind before and made her think she mattered that much. Chloe looked at me and said, My Ethan deserves the best. You'd never want her. I turned to Chloe at those words. She was staring right at me, and I suddenly felt shy. Took me a while to recover. Do you talk to everyone like that? No, I'm not that forward with people. So I'm special to you? Chloe stiffened and looked away. Then she put on a serious face. I promised Mr. Hayes I'd take good care of you. The moment she brought up Dad, I lost interest. She was way too obedient. If your family told you to be with someone else, would you agree? Chloe gave me a complicated look. Relax. I'm kidding. Don't take it so seriously. You're making me feel like a bully. Chloe, is there a guy you like? Why do you ask? Just curious. Dad asked you to look after me, and you agreed. But you should make your own choices. If you like someone else, don't force yourself. Are you tired of seeing me every day? Her eyes looked hurt. I'll go home for today. That's not what I meant. I'm not asking you to leave. Chloe, come on. You're way too sensitive. She didn't stop. She walked straight out. Margaret saw her come out. Miss Carter. I'm heading home. Chloe looked deeply upset. All right, have a safe trip. By the time I came downstairs, Chloe was gone. Margaret saw me. What happened, sir? She's mad again. I was only talking to her. And that upset her? She's so touchy. As I started out after her, Margaret reminded me, the real estate agent is coming to see you shortly. I remembered the properties I'd been buying, so I stayed and handled my business first. When Vanessa returned from work, Dennis was still home. Normally he'd be gone, but now he was broke. He'd searched the apartment for cash and found nothing, so he stayed. When Vanessa returned, Dennis said, Worked all night for pocket change again? You're lucky if you can give me $1,000 a month. That's nothing compared to Ethan's money. At least I earned it myself. What good is your effort? You couldn't earn what Ethan gave you in an entire lifetime. Vanessa, good grades don't make you special. Family connections run this world. Look at when you lived at the Hayes estate. Look how well we lived then. And how we live now. I won't do that. You ruined your life. Don't ruin mine too. Vanessa looked at her father. You say family background is everything. Then why didn't you build a better life for your daughter? Dennis was speechless. Then he told Vanessa, I had bad luck and married your useless mother. She was always sick. That's why I'm poor. That's why I told you to be with Ethan. What good is dating Adrian? You'll still be poor after you marry him. The Hayes family is loaded, and Ethan adores you. Be a little nicer, and that idiot. We'll do anything you want. I don't love him. I won't be with a man I don't love. Love? What's love worth? I'm not asking you to love Ethan. Just take his money. What's wrong with that? I won't do it. Ethan and Vanessa had always lived in different worlds. Vanessa simply refused to walk beside me. Still, she had to admit, having me around had made her life easy. But her father's smugness infuriated her. If I hadn't given you those looks, do you think anyone would want you? And yes, I know you get good grades. But I was a good student too. What's so great about Richard Hayes? His grades were worse than mine. He only became successful because his family had money. Vanessa stormed into her room and shut the door. Dennis cursed outside for ages. She stuffed tissues in her ears. The next morning, I saw Vanessa at school. She walked in with an injured face. I froze. What had happened to her? Had she been beaten? I remembered yesterday's fight with her father. Had he beaten her after they got home? Vanessa sat nearby. No one dared say anything. Adrian saw her injuries too. He was shocked. Vanessa sat there without a word. Seeing her battered yet stubborn, I couldn't resist asking, "Did your dad hit you?" Vanessa gave me a dark look. "Why? Want to save me again? Fine. Give me a few million. He owes a fortune in gambling debts. Give me the money, and I'll be your friend. Deal?" Her eyes were full of mockery. She was mocking my stupidity, and my anger flared. I only asked, "You immediately demand millions? Keep dreaming. Then stay out of my business." Vanessa lowered her head coldly. Her father hadn't hit her. Debt collectors had come to her apartment that morning. They went after her father and she got hurt in the chaos. "I actually care about you." The word care made Vanessa's heart skip. She looked at me. I smiled. "I care whether you're doing well. As long as you're miserable, I'm relieved. Next time your dad hits you, let me know. I'll come applaud him." Vanessa pulled out her book, her face livid. Unable to take any more, she snapped, "You think being with Chloe will make you happy? She's perfect in every way. Why would she want you?" A while later, I asked, "Which college are you applying to?" In my last life, Vanessa and Adrian both attended Oak Ridge University. But I was still curious. Why Vanessa had chosen Oak Ridge University instead of Washington or Jefferson. "Why are you asking? I'm curious where you two are going. Maybe I'll join you, since we all know each other. Going to the same college could be fun, right? Then I can see whether you two truly last." Time flew by as we prepared intensely for the exam. The college entrance exam finally came and quietly ended. Outside, the sunlight was almost blinding. I took a deep breath. The air smelled of gardenias, and of freedom and a fresh start. I looked back at the familiar school gates. I felt no uncertainty, only clarity. This time, I'd fought for myself and given it everything I had. "Ethan." Chloe stood beneath a shady tree, her cool voice still warm. She smiled at me. "How'd it go?" I hurried over, and naturally took her bag of supplies. "Same as always. How about you?" "That last problem. I bet you used the second method we discussed." "Exactly. Your approach fit me perfectly. I think I nailed it." We smiled at each other, sharing an unspoken understanding. Then a commotion broke the moment. I looked over. Vanessa and Adrian were surrounded by classmates. But the mood felt strange. Vanessa was pale, with dark circles under her eyes. The final stretch had clearly been brutal for her. Her father Dennis's debts had haunted her relentlessly. Debt collectors had even shown up at school, pushing her already strained nerves to the breaking point. Worse, when she needed Adrian most, he had started pulling away. Faced with harsh reality, that once gentle honor student revealed his cowardice and selfishness. He no longer defended Vanessa in public. When people gossiped about her family, he stayed silent or changed the subject. Now Adrian was saying something to Vanessa. His expression showed rehearsed concern, but his body language kept her at a distance. Vanessa gave him a complicated look, bitter yet knowingly amused. I looked away unmoved. All that love and hate from my last life now seemed like a ridiculous dream I'd created myself. I no longer hated Vanessa, but I felt no sympathy either. Everyone must live with their choices. She chose to rely on Adrian, and trampled my love. Now she had to swallow the consequences. "Let's go. Dad and Margaret are probably waiting." When the scores came out, all of Oak Ridge was stunned. The biggest story wasn't longtime leaders Vanessa or Adrian. It was the miracle underdog Ethan Hayes. My incredible score sailed past the top college cutoff, and even beat Vanessa. Chloe and I were admitted to a top university in Washington, D.C. The classmates who'd mocked me as a useless servant's son were speechless. In our class chat, all the mockery vanished. It was replaced by awkward praise and flattery. Tessa even quietly deleted everything she'd posted. spreading rumors about me online. I calmly watched the messages flood my screen. I no longer needed anyone's approval to prove myself. My greatest gain from being reborn was reclaiming my self-respect, seeing people clearly and finding a goal worth fighting for. Meanwhile, Vanessa's outcome was bittersweet. Family pressure and heartbreak badly hurt her exam performance. She underperformed. Her score could still get her into a decent college, but not Washington or Jefferson, nor Adrian's chosen school. Adrian got into a prestigious northern university. After receiving his acceptance, he gently suggested that he and Vanessa separate so they could focus on school. Vanessa's father, Dennis, had an accident while fleeing his creditors. He was hospitalized with severe injuries and might need lifelong care. The man who dreamed of using his daughter to marry into wealth ultimately destroyed everything with his greed. Vanessa quietly took responsibility and refused everyone's help, including financial aid offered by the Hayes family. She sold what little they had left and left Oak Ridge with her father. They moved to a small town where no one knew them, and she began a life filled with hardship but finally free from her old vanity. Perhaps this was the true beginning of her life. That summer, Richard cleared his entire schedule and took Chloe and me on a long trip. I was no longer the reckless boy Dad had to worry about. I'd become thoughtful and mature, planning our routes and looking after Chloe and Dad. One evening on a beach in Malibu, the sunset painted the ocean gold and crimson. Richard watched his son chase the waves with Chloe, his eyes full of pride. He came over and patted my shoulder. "Ethan, I know everything." "Know what?" "About that dream you had." "I don't know the details, but I can guess." "Thank you, son. Thank you for saving me. And yourself." My eyes stung. Dad had noticed my changes long ago and had quietly supported and protected me. "I fully support you and Chloe. She's a wonderful girl and a better judge of character than your dad. This is your graduation gift and an early wedding gift." He handed me a document envelope. Inside was a transfer agreement for most of Hayes Holdings' capital division and the deed to a renovated courtyard home near campus. This was Richard's way of saying, "Your future is yours. Whatever makes you happy, Dad will support it." Our final stop was the courtyard home's rooftop terrace. The night breeze was cool beneath a sky full of stars. Chloe leaned against the railing, gazing over Washington's lights. I walked over and draped a light blanket around her shoulders. "Chloe, I've owed you these words for 2 lifetimes. I'm sorry I was too blind to see you before." My voice broke as I gathered the courage to take her cool hand. "And thank you. Thank you for still waiting for me in this life. I know saying I like you isn't enough, but I hope you'll give me a chance to spend my life learning how to love you and cherish you as you've cherished me. Will you be my girlfriend?" Chloe didn't answer right away. She stepped forward, rested in my arms, and buried her face against my chest. After a long while, her voice came softly, trembling with tears, yet completely certain. "Ethan, I wasn't waiting for you. I was waiting for myself. Waiting until I was strong enough that, no matter who you became, I could still reach you. Fortunately, in this life, you came to me far sooner than I ever imagined."